Just looking at the intro there, me and Jack are walking out the tunnel. That's exactly what Spurs need right now. Some solid leadership out on the pitch that I would provide. But welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boy, Big Dave. Obvious difference is Dermatron instead of Jack. The reason why is Jack flew out to Seattle to spend time with his family for Thanksgiving, which means he also has to fly back to New York. So he is in the process of doing that today. So we wish Jack a safe journey. But we've drafted in Dermatron to help do the fan show with us. Dermo, how are you keeping this evening, sir?
I'm keeping fine. You bought the better looking fella in, I have to say, Dave. Do you know that? I should be walking out of that tunnel, me and Mr. Brady as well behind
Ireland's next top model, Dermo.
Oh yeah. Ireland's next manager. There we go, taking over for Kenny Ball. Dave as my assistant. Jack as the tactician man. Look, I take Ireland to new heights. But yeah, thanks for having me in, Dave. It's always a pleasure and an honour to co-host this show with you all, Jack. So thank you so much. Very honoured, so thanks. But come on, you Spurs. Let's get into it.
Thank you for giving up your time, this evening to come on and talk more Tottenham with us, But look, I do have a lot of talking points that I'll ask you a couple of them before we maybe start getting on some guests. But I want to welcome some of the early people in with us. Who have we got here? We have Drunk Vigo says, good day, mate. Big up, my man. Good to see you. Poor Australian accent. I know we have Brad Matches in the background. He might be able to do it better when he comes on. We also have Tequila 316. Big up, lads. And says, now let's all be respectful to each other. We're all on the same side. Mostly big up Dave and Dermo. Big up Tequila. Hopefully you're keeping well. Good evening, Mark Cook. He says, evening, Big Dave. Evening, Marky. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Let me know what you make of that performance yesterday. Good evening, Asher Swell. Big up Dave and Jack. No Jack today. As you can see, we got Dermatron in. But please, you said Ledley King and Ozzy Ardiles were out in India doing a Spurs watch along out there. Let me know, please, how it went on. Hopefully you can come on and have a conversation and tell us how it went. If not, if you're busy, just put it in the chat and let us know how it went down out there. And have we picked up more fans? The more fans, the merrier. Or the merrier. Tyler says, hey, Jack and Dave, hope you guys are doing well today. Come on, you Spurs. Look, still gutted about yesterday. I can't lie, Big T. I mean, you just shouldn't have lost it. There's nothing worse than losing a game that you shouldn't have lost. We were architects of our own downfall in many different ways yesterday, and it's just gutting. It's just gutting, especially when you see the other crowd top of the league. It's absolutely rips you apart. But look, Tyler, we move. We've got a big game coming up this weekend. Out with the defeatist attitude, and let's roll on and see what we can do with City, my man. Big up, though. Hopefully we see you tonight as well, Big T. Spurs GCTV with that lovely channel membership badge beside the name as well. Good evening, guys. Hope you're well. We're keeping well. How are you, my man? Please do let us know. Ricky Nados, big up, brothers, and all my Spurs family. We will come good. Too many injuries. Come on, you Spurs. And you know what? One of my concerns maybe was that 3 losses on the bounce, maybe if we have a bad result at City at the weekend, that the pressure would start piling on Ange Postecoglou. However, to give everyone credit, there seems to be a bit of grace. Well, I hope so, that people are realizing that even though we were down to the bare bones yesterday, I think I'd seen something earlier on. Someone made an 11 out of all the injured and suspension players, and it's better than the team we put out yesterday. But a lot of people, I think, are understanding. They looked at yesterday's game and said, well, hang on here a minute, we get over this crisis, get out this season, get reinforcements in January and the summer, and let's attack it next season. I think many people come out of it convinced Ange is the right man. Big up, Ricky Nato. Good to see you, sir. Big up, Derek Hutchinson. Hopefully you're keeping well. Great to see you in the building. Let me know what you think on the game yesterday. Who else have we got? Monkey Allen says, evening guests, evening gents. Second string are not fit enough. Players look shattered yesterday. 100%, I have a question about that I'm going to get into. Come the end of the game, yes, some of the players look worn out. Look, Gill looked out on his feet after 70 minutes. But you got to understand, when was the last time Gill played 90 minutes, being out with a back problem, had surgery on it, stuff like that. Bentoncourt, amazing yesterday. Came off injured. And look, I would also argue we've had fitness issues at Tottenham for quite some time. There was a lot of questions. Were we fit enough under Jose? Same about Conte. Same about Nuno. And look, what I will say is under all three of them, man, well, some of the squad complained about the training methods and training, this, that, and the other. Could that be a reason why? Let me know what you think. Who else have we got with us? We got Sweeney Todd. Good evening, sir. How are you? Also, Scotty Hynam. Great to see you in, Scotty. Hopefully you're keeping well. Steve D, my man. He also says hi, gents, and everyone in the chat. Good evening, Steve D. Welsh gal. No Arsenal crumble this weekend, but hey, there's always next weekend. She says, big up, Dave and Tron and all the Irish fan show. Greetings to the Harris Army. Back, Big Ange, absolutely spot on. And then who else have we got? Steve D. If you remember when we get Ange, I said I'll reserve judgment and asked, would he become Bielsa 2.0? I've been impressed by our style. Being impressed by our style is extremely taxing on the players. We need depth to sustain our method. Yeah. Look, 100% we need more strength in depth. And not only to sustain, the method, but to be able to sustain the attack of football. But in terms of the fitness, look, I'll get onto that in a few minutes, Steve D. Just bear with me, my man. But great to see you in the building. We also have Drusilla, big up, Dave, and Dermo. We also have Tottenham Tom. Hi, everyone. Good to see you in. Tottenham Tom. Now, Dermo, just give me 1 second. I'm going to go into my bag of tricks here. I made a question. Great to see so many people with similar minds to me out there.
It is, and it's great to see many people with memberships as well. So please get your memberships. Do sign up. Dave and Jack do so much for the members on this channel. So pick up your memberships and help the guys along the way on their journey to the promised land. And also just send in a super chat as well. If you want to get ahead of the queue is jumping. It also helps Dave and Jack, and it also indicates which way we're going the conversation tonight. But it's all about you guys tonight. Get your memberships. Come on and talk to me and Dave, because it's about you. It's not about us. It's about you guys tonight. So get your memberships. It does help.
Absolute legends. And then there's a few more comments. There's a name I haven't seen in a while. And weirdly enough, actually, I was only actually thinking about this guy earlier on. I was lying on bed. I was like, you know what? I haven't seen Simon Cohen in ages. I wonder how he is. And here he is tonight. Yeah, that's mad. But big up, Simon. Please, genuine. Let me know how you are in the chat. Great to see you, sir. It's great to see you. Roll on January. Absolutely spot on.
Yeah, it is.
Now's not the time to hold back. We have to get more reinforcements in January. But I also don't want us to knee-jerk just to get players in for the sake of it. They have to be of the right quality, and they have to be in areas that we really need the reinforcements. Big up, Simon. Neil Shafton, he says season beatings. That's what it seems like at the minute. We have Grudland. Ange needs to be back in January. Levy needs to back this guy. 1,000%. Couldn't agree more with that. Ash says, it was absolutely amazing. I can't come on because I lost my voice from shouting. Unfortunately, I was so drunk. What I thought was a selfie and actually a weird blurry video zooming into the ceiling. Oh, no. I hope you weren't going to get a picture of Ledley King and Ozzy Ardiles when that happened. That's an absolute disaster if that's the case. But sounds like you had a great evening and a great event. Hopefully we picked up many more Spurs fans from that evening. Costazzo Jolly, honestly, what a pronunciation by me. Pat myself on the back. We should start calling out bad performances because Son's positioning was poor and the mentality with finishing games was poor. So was our defending in set pieces. Look, I always call out what I think is bad performances. Look, in fairness, I think most people do. It's just whether people agree on the player who had a bad performance or not, I think is really sort of what it comes down to. But to be fair, I do think the majority do call out bad performances. Look, I can't take a bad performance. Everyone knows that. I'm like a child. Spurs GCTV, Dave, 3 losses against Chelsea with 9 men and could have nicked it against Wolves. We just needed to hang on for 3 more minutes. And yesterday when we should have won, but so unlucky. Absolutely spot on. I think that's great context, kind of where we are right now and some of the defeats, especially within the injuries and the suspensions that we've had to endure, mate. Manny Backer says, our style of play is frustrating teams, whereby heavy tackles against us are needed in order to stop the flow. Unfortunately, it's Ange ball. I think we are also getting used to this style of play. Come on, you Spurs. Look, definitely agree with that, Look, we've all, most of us have all played the game or played some sort of sport or something, right? Or it doesn't matter. We've been competitive at something in our lives. And the reality is, if someone's running rings around you, you resort to the dark arts, to try and change that, to try and chop them down. That's the reality of it, So we have to expect that. If you're out on a pitch and you go to close someone down and he's constantly spinning you, or you go to close him down, he passes on to the next guy and you're just chasing shadows and you can't get near them. That's what happens. You're absolutely spot on. But that's why I'd say some of them need to toughen up a little there, Mal.
They do need to toughen up a bit. Look, I get you do turn to the dark arts, but we've got to be tougher out there. We're men. It's not a game for boys out there. It's a game for men. So the women are tough when they play the game. You look how they play the game. They're not shirking in their tackles, in their defending or anything. So if they can do it, so can we. Some of these lads do have to do toughen up, but Jesus, some of them women's games scares the shit out of me. When you look at them playing, you're thinking, I would like to meet them down the dark alley. You know, they're tougher than the men. And that says a lot than some of the men players today. That says a hell of a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Big up, Manny Backer. Spurs GCTV says, nothing to be massively disappointed about. My friend, absolutely spot on. Ash also says, we got a lot of Argentina fans because of Aussie. They came in wearing Argentina jerseys, but left wearing Spurs jerseys. Hopefully they all had Romero on the back. We need to get more recruited into his fan club. Ricardo says, we'll be fine, just need to be patient. Another day, we could have scored 6. Yeah, that's a fair point. And then welcome in as well, Ricardo. King Huddle says, we were without our hitter, 2 first-choice midfield and our first 2-choice centre-backs. So how do you think the Gunners would do without Saliba, Gabriel, Rice, Odegaard, Parry, Havertz? Not very well, actually. Yeah, fair point. Absolutely fair point. James Parry, paratrooper, big up, good to see you in the building. Says our medical team must be full of closet gunners. And also Mick Kermanock, welcome in, along with Joseph. Says we need a goal scoring wide forward and centre backs and a left back and a right back. But look, I also want to find out off people. I'm going to give them 2 positions. You know what 2 positions they think we need to sort of recruit in January as an emergency. And Peter Breen says, anyone else think we're really starting to see how much we miss Kane?
Yeah.
Not getting into it. I'm going to reserve my thoughts for another few weeks on it. I'm just going to see how it goes. It might open up today. We'll see. We'll see. I'll come back to that. Mr. Bean.
You nearly hooked him in.
I'll be here all evening. No one else will get a word in. So
no.
It's not about me this evening. It really isn't. But Dermo, I do want to ask you a question, right? Spurs have had an issue sort of controlling the last 3 games. In the last 3 games, we took leads in, but we failed to sort of see them out. Is that a mentality issue? I've heard, other opinions out there across all social media, on Sky Sports and all that as well and stuff like that. Is it maybe because of the style of play, the relentless nature of it, that we can't keep up the pressing and the high intensity that we want to for 90 minutes? What do you put it down to?
I do you know what? I think it's a mixture of everything. I think it's been put down to many years of different philosophies under different managers. We're playing too defensively, and then you don't. If you're playing too defensively, you're not too much energy into the game because you're sitting back all the time. Another manager comes in, I want to play forward football. I think it's down to fitness. I think it's down to mentality. I think it's down to players learning what Ange wants. I think it's a mixture of everything, but we will get it right. These players are learning. Some of these players are buying into what Ange is doing. And I think yesterday you look at Hill, hasn't played a full 90 minutes game. You look at Bentancur as well. You look at other players, and I think it's a mentality, but I think that mentality is changing. And I think we're going to see more as the fitter they get, the longer they're going to last. We saw it under Poch. The last 20 minutes of games, we were fitter than most other teams. It's been too many years playing the defensive football where it's not meant to exact you. You sit back and you kick them on the counter attack. Under Ange and probably Poch, it was more you have to press all the time. It's all about fitness and mentality. We will get there, but it's a mixture of all 3, Dave. And I think we spent so long on the old philosophy that this new philosophy is going to take players time to get their head around it, but they will do.
Look, for me, I think it's probably a mix of 3 things. I think, look, obviously, number one, people getting used to relentless nature of the system. The longer they play it, the more, tolerance they'll build up to play in that way. Also, you also have to look at a lot of the players that we're playing at the minute. Haven't played a lot of football this season. Some coming back off long-term injuries. Some out there still sort of carrying knocks while they're playing. We've had a lot of that to contend with this season. So I put part of it down to that. But also, some of the older guard are coming back in, and we've questioned the mentality of them. You look at some of the mistakes. I'd argue Ben Davies at fault for both goals yesterday. Dyer and Davies at fault for the goals against Wolves. So maybe is part of the old mentality maybe creeping back in, because I think I've seen a stat band about yesterday that this season we've conceded the most late goals this season. So, look, interesting. People in the comments, please let me know what you think on that. Where else are Dermo? The amount of injuries, we could be missing up to 12 players for the Man City trip. Now, obviously, one of them is the suspended Romero. But what do you put it down to? Do you put it down to the sports science and the people implementing it? Do you put it down to the physios? Do you put it down? We know that those you were saying they train at the same intensity and that as a match, but that's also a part of the Postecoglou way. He done it at Celtic. They train for a solid, what is it? I think 70, 80 sort of minutes, because I think Postecoglou broke it down that minus all the breaks and plays and ball out time and stuff, it's a 70-minute game, and he needs to make sure that they last that. Could it be down to the training methods? I mean, what do you put it down to?
I don't put it down to the training methods. I think that's a cop-out. I think players saying it's the same story we've heard time after time. They complained about Mourinho's training. They complained about Conte training. They complained about Poch training. So the training bit, I think, is a no-goer. I put it down to the sports science. I put it down to the physios. Our medical staff are not the best in the world. We all know that. Look, this player, we're back in 2 months' time. The end of the season, he still isn't back. So, do you know what I mean? I think it's the sports science. I think it's the medical team. I think it's the physios. But I think the training bit, I think that's a bit of a cop-out for players to use that as an excuse, because that's what training's there for. If you want a player to get used to your philosophy, you're going to have to train the same way you play. It's down to them players to keep themselves fit and do the other stuff afterwards. Is how they look after their bodies after the training sessions, the warm downs, the warm up, make sure they're doing the warms up correctly, the warm downs, the stretching, the everything. So I think it's down to them to do that correctly. It's got nothing to do with the training. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe other people in the chat do let us know, but that's just my opinion. I think it's got nothing to train. I think it's more to do with the medical staff and the physio and the instructions to get off the medical team.
I'd go along with that, because it's been an issue. It was under Antonio Conte as well. Even though they trained and played a different way, we still carried so many injuries. So it can't be anything that Postecoglou is doing, is what I'm thinking. Also, you've got so many breakages and stoppages in play right now that are going on for 6-7 minutes. Players are cooling down, not warming back up, going straight back into the high intensity of the game, which means, when you're going out there or you're going back playing cold, it opens you up to more injuries. So there's probably many sort of different things. I know Matty Cash's tackle didn't help yesterday as well. I'm going to come back to Peter Breen, because I get what he's saying. So I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to take Ricardo's point, and it goes along with Codazzo Tejala's point as well. Ricardo says mainstream media have some strange anti-Spurs attitude. All season we have had one bad performance, which was Wolves. Over time we will get the results. We just need to support. And look, I've been saying it for a long time. People think I'm crazy, but I've been saying it for quite some time. And then this Tajala says, do you guys think Ange will adapt? Because I think maybe he could play Conte's formation, because unlike last time, our wing-backs can actually play in the midfield, and we'll have 4 midfielders. Look, all this sort of talk about change and adaptation is driven by the media. You had Richard Keats out there today doing something. It was a constant talking point in the media after the Wolves game, after the Chelsea game, this, that, and the other. And I get why it's a massive talking point, because the way we approach it, it's something they haven't seen, especially the way we approached it with 9 men, right? It's unorthodox, which then obviously leads to the natural talking point everywhere. Is Ange naive? This, that, and the other. But we have to remember back where we were under Conte and what we wanted and what we asked for. We asked for someone that plays to our strengths, plays the Spurs way, which is attacking football, worries about us, not the opposition. We've got all that. And for me, I think we should just embrace it. After the 4 years of periods we've had, where we've had some of the best attacking players we've ever had at this club, but played the most offensive football I think we've ever seen. I think we should be embracing what we're seeing right now. Personally, I don't think Postecoglou should change. At the end of the day, he's coming to the same problem that every other manager has suffered in and around the October, November, December period. When the congested fixtures come in, and you're not just talking about Premier League, you're talking about Carabao Cup. Sometimes we're in Europe as well. Then all the added international fixtures that are added in on the periods. It's congested. We pick up injuries. We then don't have the squad to cope with it, whereas others do. And that's what our downfall is. That's why we keep seeing Tottenham fall in and around this period. It's such a common theme the last 3 to 4 years. And until we address the squad problem, we're going to keep coming bound to these questions of asking managers to do this, do that, and everything else. The problem is squad depth. You know, that's why everyone, there's just so much going on about Romero. You know, he's rash, he's this, that, and the other. Reality is, okay, we get it, right? I embrace him for the player he is. I like that sort of player. It's just my personal preference. But at the end of the day, if we had bred a squad depth and it wasn't such a drop-off in quality, I don't think Romero's tackling would be such a huge talking point. No. You know, because it's like, okay, we stick this guy in and we'll get over the line. But we don't have that. So everything is amplified. For me, I just think Postecoglou, stick to your guns, and it's up to us to keep rotating this squad. It's taken too long. It's taken such a long time to do it, but we're getting there slowly but surely, Dermo.
I mean, look, we've seen it up in Celtic, Dave. You and me and big Celtic fans, we've seen what he did up in Celtic in a very short space of time. He's done it in Tottenham even quicker. He's changing the culture at the club. He's changing the way we think. He's changing the way we play. Stick to your guns. If you start changing your philosophy, that sends a message to the players. This manager doesn't believe in what he's saying. He doesn't believe in his philosophy. Then the players don't buy into it. The players then say, well, why are we listening to this man? If he doesn't believe in what he's saying, then why we're not going to believe in him? And then that starts a domino effect where players don't play for him. They keep going back to old habits. Stick to your guns, Ange. Stick to your guns. The players will follow. The players who want to follow will follow. The players that want to go will go. This is when January and next summer is so important. We have to bolster that squad. We have to make a better squad depth because we're going to be in Europe next season. And we're going to need that depth playing all them competitions. And look, he'd done it at Celtic. Everyone look at Celtic and look how they're playing now without Ange. Look at the drop-off with Brendan Rodgers and Ange Postecoglou. That tells you everything. That tells you this man's a winner. This man will stick to his guns no matter what. And we've got to allow him to do it. And we've got to follow him. And Dave, you've got to bang the drum. Stick to your guns. Stick to it. You start changing, players start losing interest in the manager because, all right, you don't believe in your philosophy. Why should I bother believing in what you're saying? It's going to be a domino effect again.
But see, also, when I see this question banded around, I sort of struggle to see what people are asking for because do they mean adaptation within his methods, his ethos, and his general principles? I can understand that. But if they're talking about, you know, for instance, you know, massive changes like formation changes or changes to the approach to the game, the high line, this, that, and the other to suit certain individuals who have already proven they can't play a low line anyway, with 11 men sitting with the rest of the team sitting in front of them, then once Postecoglou does that, the whole mantra and everything else, the mentality that he's trying to instill, it goes against that because his mentality is about being brave, playing football the right way, going out and attacking teams, looking to win games, you know. And once he starts changing the be brave aspect and he starts changing his tactics, people start losing faith in what he's asking them to do. We all know then how that ends. We've seen it more. We've seen it more than any other club, I'd argue, over the last 3 to 4 years with the amount of manager changes and assistant manager changes and stuff like that. So, but if you're asking, like, you know, okay, we still want to play the high line, we still want to play on the front foot football, that's always going to be core to Postecoglou. But what you can do is you change maybe the area of the team that you attack against because they have a certain weakness than the team than the week before, where you press, who you press on, stuff like that. You know, you change that a little. That's my thoughts on it anyway, Dermo.
And look, you don't see the best managers during the years of the past changing their philosophy. Alex Ferguson didn't change philosophy at United. Kenny Dalglish, Bill Shankly, Sir Matt Busby, Bill Nick never changed his philosophy. And breadwinners at breadwinning competitions, cups, leagues. and should not change. Tweak it, yeah. If you want to tweak it, fine, within the philosophy, but don't change it, because we've seen it too many times. Managers fit players into their how they want, and it leads to a doomed effect. Managers leave, players win. Can't have it anymore. Ange is the boss. Puts his foot down. I'm not changing, and fans need to get behind that. They need to show Levy we support Ange. In times of trouble, we all knew there'd be bumps in the road. This is a bump. We will succeed. We will rise. In Ange we trust, and we always will. In Ange we trust.
And then to Jala coming back saying, I get embraced in our style and culture, but I genuinely want us to be able to be a team that can adapt our formation to get results while sticking to our attacking principles. I hear what you're saying, right? But we had managers that adapted formations and that for up and made tweaks to counter the oppositions. The players in the club didn't want to do it, but also the fans didn't have the patience for them sort of managers. I don't think we should. Look, I'm okay with where we're at. I'm okay with where we're at and who we've got in charge. But look, I get what you're saying. Look, you're not the only one out there saying it as well. You know, there's loads of people that hold the same opinion, my man. And so we're waiting.
I get what he's saying. I understand what he's saying. There is a lot of people out there, Dave. But I think you've got, if you're a man of your word, a man of principles, you've got to stick by your principles. Players have to say, okay, Ange, this is the way Ange wants to play. We're going to buy into it. As soon as the minute he changes his philosophy, say, look, guys, I'm going to change my philosophy. That's when he loses the players, because they're going to come around and say, well, listen, how can we trust you? How can we follow you if you're going to flip-flop? And that's the start of the trouble. And then you start suiting certain players, as you say, like a Dyer, Davis, wherever, where players are not good enough, even if you do a tactic to suit them. So you shoot yourself in the foot. So Ange, just keep sticking to your principles. We saw what happened at Celtic. He can do the same thing for us.
For sure. But look, that's only a couple of talking points. 3 defeats in a row. I want to know where everyone is at with the project. Are you still behind Ange and the project, or are you maybe starting to have concerns? Let me know. We lost to Villa yesterday. Does that come down to a case of missed chances, or is it the same old sort of strength in depth, old players coming back to cause us defensive problems yet again? Let me know what you think of yesterday's game on that. Like we already spoke about, the controlling of leads. What do you put it down to? Mentality, or what Andrew's asking the players to do, and can they do it? What do you make of Lo Celso's performance yesterday? And has he done enough to keep his place in the side going forward? Kulu played a central role yesterday before being moved out to the wing. What do you think of him in that role, and would you like to see more of him in that role? We missed so many chances yesterday. We struggled in front of goals all season long. I've sort of been saying that. The reason why we're getting over the line is because of the back line. Do we need a striker this January? Look, back to Mr. Breen's point. I think we do. Yeah. With the injuries we have right now, it might go on longer than January with Maddison or Van de Ven. We don't know. With the medical department's record of telling us when players are back, it's not exactly great, is it? So for me, this is exactly where you need that out-and-out goal scorer, where you're in a position where you have to go and outscore teams. Look, I'm not getting back into the Kane debate. He's gone, right? He's gone, and he's doing well at Bayern Munich, by the way. He's doing very well.
Yeah.
But the idea was that everyone else would chip in with goals. That hasn't quite happened, so now we have to pivot. I think, personally, we do need to go back into the market in January and get a striker, but that's only my personal opinion. People coming on and speaking to us, let us know where you're at with that, if that's what you want to talk about. Dyer dropped for Emerson. Emerson came from right wing back to right back to play centre back, and for me, didn't look out of place. Near the end, pissed me off when we were looking last chance and he dribbled straight in the Aston Villa player. But as a centre back, I don't think he really done a hell of a lot wrong yesterday. But yet Dyer's played there a lot longer and absolutely useless. The fact that Ange dropped him yesterday, does that mean we've finally seen the end of Eric Dyer? And maybe last but not least, is there any sort of scenarios, where we pick up some at the empty had next week? But the main thing I want to know is what's leading Spurs' injury crisis? This season, we were supposed to have a clear run of games, not pick up that many injuries. Statistically, it's proven you're not supposed to pick up that many injuries when you're sort of playing one game a week. It's only really when you're in Europe and playing twice a week where your injuries really sort of multiply. Why are we carrying more injuries than some teams in Europe? It's a massive problem. Let me know. So that's where we're at with all the talking points. We've got a super chat here from Jerome. Big up my man Jerome. Really do appreciate the support. Especially with Christmas coming up and everything else, the price of inflation and all that sort of jazz. I really appreciate you sending in support for the channel, my man. And he says, I have even more faith in the project. The football is there and it excites me. We are just unlucky with injury and depth. Dermo, where are you at with it quickly, and then I'll give my opinion on it.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. I couldn't have said it any better, Jerome. Absolutely spot on. We're just so unlucky. You look at the Chelsea game, how unlucky. Players sent off, 2 players sent off, and then Van der Ven injured. And that sort of leads on to your point, Dave, about VAR, the stoppage of the game, cooling down. Was that the reason he pulled his hamstring? It could have been. We don't know. But Jerome is absolutely spot on there. I couldn't have said it better myself. Big up, Jerome. And thank you so much. It means a hell of a lot to the channel. So thank you very much. But Dave, I agree with that 100%.
Do you know what? I'm actually starting to reach the point where I don't believe our injury crisis is unlucky, actually, personally. I think every manager comes in here, he select players that he trusts, and every manager will play them half injured. They will play them until their ankle is falling off because they don't trust the guys behind them. They just don't have no trust in them whatsoever. And all it's doing is leaving them suspect to more injuries, and stuff like that. So I'm starting to sort of one of these. I think some of our injury crisis is man-made because we don't have the strength in depth. So managers are constantly relying on these guys all the time, the same individuals, and we see it. We rely on them as fans. As soon as they're out of the team, results dip. We start losing games. I actually started to believe it's a man-made problem at this point rather than actually being unlucky. And it's because of the strength in depth like you speak about, Jerome. But let me know what you think on my point there, Jerome. Let me know, my man. Big yourself up. But look, we're going to start. Go on, Dermo.
I'm just saying, I don't really agree it's man-made. I more think it is unlucky. Some of them were just that Chelsea game. We were so unlucky with 2 sendings off on the hamstring. That was just unlucky. That was just one in the game. But I always have this theory, Dave. Every team goes through this. Every team during the season goes through. We're going through ours now. The rest of them will go through theirs later in the season. It's football. I get your point. I do get your point about man-made. I do want you to get your point, but I think it's just so unlucky. But these things go in cycles. We're just having a run bad luck at the moment, and we will come out of it the other end.
The reason why I say it's man-made, Dermot, is Perisic wasn't fit at Tottenham last season when he came. How long did he play him for?
Yeah,
even though he wasn't fit. You look at James Maddison this season, and was widely known. Son of Maddison were playing with injuries. Now Maddison's out till January, I'm just sort of starting to think that when I see this, and it's the same every sort of season, how many times were we like, Harry Kane was out there playing with injury and we were forgetting, we didn't want him to get injured, this, that, and the other, because we know the drop off, this, that, and the other. So these players are then, because the managers rely on them so heavily and they love the managers they're playing for, they're putting themselves through the pain barrier. Like, I think Son spoke about playing with injury all of last season and stuff like that. I'm just starting to think that it's a man-made problem because we don't have the strength in depth to be able to dip these players out. But that's where I'm at with it. But everybody, we are going to crack on. We are going to start getting the guests on. Just a couple of quick things. If you could smash that like button, it'd be absolutely awesome. Feel free to share this out to passionate Spurs fans just like yourselves. Tell them to subscribe. Tell them about the great word and spread the gospel of the Irish Hotspur and THFC till I die. And also feel free, just like Jerome, to get in your support. Every channel, every YouTuber out there needs it. No one has big wigs, big media companies behind them. This, that, and the other. Every channel needs the support. So if you're ever feeling, flush or generous, feel free to throw in a bit of support, but always do it with a talking point or become a channel member and get perks for it. So feel free to do that. It's a great way to support everything we do here. Big up Paul Wiley as well. Good to see you in the building. Ruben Campbell, great to see you coming in there as well. We also have Floyd Jarrett as well. I'm not gonna call him out. He's an Arsenal fan. The other guy. Big up Davey Hall in there as well, my man. And then we have Jerome. He's coming back to me. He says, I do agree. It's man-made as well, because you can clearly see Andrew's no faith in Dyer to lose his spot to a right back like Emerson. Of course, he's going to play VDV until his knees fall off. So he's agreeing with me, Dermo.
Yeah, look, I get your point, Dave. I get your point. I do want, and I probably agree with you in a way, but I just think I look at the sending offs and the other bits, and I just think it's just so unlucky. We lost in that one game. We lost 4 players in that one game, and that for me was unlucky. That was just, you've never seen that before. But look, I don't disagree with you, Dave. I just see it in a different view. But I think you may be right. I think you're swinging me round to your way of the argument, not flip flopping. I think you're swinging me around. But I still think that we're just unlucky with the amount of injuries and suspensions we all got at the one time. That's the unlucky bit. That's where we must have hit a black cat somewhere along the line, or walked under a ladder. We just, every season's the same thing. We get injuries at the worst times. I think we're cursed sometimes with some of these injuries we get.
And look, I'm not putting the whole injury crisis down to it being a man-made problem. But I don't think we look after our players as well. I do think, the majority of them, you've heard so many players coming out saying they've been playing through injury, and it is a big part of the problem at Tottenham Hotspur. But of course, it's not the only part of the problem. Of course, you're going to get some injuries, from, picking up knocks in games and stuff like that. I get that, regardless whether, even if they are 100% fit, some will pick up illnesses and stuff. I get that. But I do think at least 50% of it is our own problem, because so many managers come in and keep relying on these individuals, and they're playing so many games. We even sit there and go, why are they playing a Carabao Cup game? Because they have to, because when they don't, we get knocked out. So, I mean, I do think it's definitely a massive contributing factor for sure, Jerome. Big up, my man, and also welcome in Future Music. Good to see you. Yeah, look, that could do something. That'll have something to do with it as well. The fact you're going from one regime to another regime, completely different work in different parts and stuff like that. Fully agree with your Future Mutual. Good point. And then Ray Hill says, made enough chances to win at Wolves, and yesterday, terrible last passes and finishing. There's nothing to do with injuries.
No.
I would argue it is because the quality of the players stepping in. It's not only the forwards, the back line, like some of the errors they've made are something we've seen time and time again with some of these individuals. So, I do think some of it is to do with injuries. Even the forward line. People don't want to talk about the amount of injuries we carried in the forward line. People pretend like it doesn't exist. A lot of it is to do with the injuries, because the quality of the players that are out injured, for sure, Ray. For sure it is. But look, we'll crack into it. I know Brad and me have been waiting very patiently in the background saying, Dave, please close that Mortem out. I want to speak now. So we're going to start getting them on. Let's start with the one and only Mia from Spurs Between the Lines at the game yesterday, by the way. Let's hear what she has to make of it. Mia, good evening. How are you? What do you make of yesterday's game?
Yeah, it was good to be there. Like I was saying to you backstage, there's nothing like being at Tottenham and being in that stadium. It's just, like I said backstage, it's addictive. I could go every week. I can see why people get season tickets, because that feeling, the atmosphere, where I was in the South Stand, big up to Phil P and to Nick, who got me the ticket. Nick basically found me the ticket, and Phil P so kindly was going somewhere, so he let me have his tickets. Obviously, I've got the tickets, but yeah, it was really nice of him to obviously make sure that I got to go to the game. So I'm really happy that I did go. Seeing it from a point of view of,
do you know what? Just quickly, it's written all over your face. You can tell, you've had a good day out here.
I just love it. I just love going. And when like you see it as well, because where we were sitting, you can see the whole pitch, and sometimes it isn't on the telly. You can't see everything, can you? So when you're watching it from above, it's really nice to be able to see it and see everything. And always is it a pleasure to see Bentancur in real life play, because I love Bentancur. When I saw him last season, when I went to Everton, it was, even though we were playing obviously Conte ball, even Bentancur then was just brilliant. Like, I just love Bentancur as a player. So it was nice to see him, even though he did get injured, which was a bit of a, like the first tackle and the second ones, they were both a little bit, we can obviously see the replay, but they were rough yesterday. I'm going to be honest, and I'm not someone to blame a ref. I'm somebody who says, listen, we need to do better. But they kept falling over. You literally were touching them like the tiniest bit, and now falling over dramatically, like, oh my God. And then they were doing the dirtiest fouls on us, and we weren't getting anything. I was like, what is this referee doing? Like, honestly, that ref let a lot go. They were being really they were being quite rough and getting away with it for sure. So he didn't control the game very well.
On that, me, I'm of the opinion Manny cashed the tackle he got booked for and given the yellow. That was worse than what Romero done against Chelsea.
I've not seen all of the tackles back, but I do think it was a bad tackle. I think as well, what I was more annoyed was some of those should have been second yellows. There should have been some second yellows banded about because I think he let people get away with it. I was like, hold up, he's booked. Why is he not getting booked again, man? That's a blatant booking.
Mike Cash was one of them, right?
Mike Cash was one of them. He didn't have a. If he would have not had a booking already, he would have got booked, which means he should have been booked. It doesn't matter what you want to try and keep the game nice. Well, they didn't care when we went down to 9 men against Chelsea. So why are they not doing it for other teams?
Do you feel the referee yesterday, Mia, wasn't strong enough? Do you think to brand out these second yellow cards and that VAR once again failed us where Hill got the elbow in the face? The penalty that Kulu could have had, you were down that end of the pitch, so you probably got a good view of that as well. Do you feel the referee lost his nerve yesterday in that game?
Yeah, I do feel like he lost his nerve a little bit to give a second yellow. Definitely, 100%. The whole crowd was screaming at him about it. Like we were like, he's been booked. Book him again. What's the matter with you? I won't. There's some choice words for the referee, I will say, in where I was sitting, but I don't blame them. Because honestly, he was absolutely a joke. The things he let get away with, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? When you see that they're getting away with it, you just think, hold up a sec. How I know, like they want to let a game flow, but stopping every 5 minutes when they're blowing up the whistle for every 5 minutes when we were doing anything, and then letting them just to get away with stuff, it was just made no sense. At least be consistent with what you're doing. If you're going to let it go, just let it all go, right?
Yeah,
I'm going to give you a couple of stats on Rob Jones before yesterday's game versus refereeing Spurs games. And I'm just going to leave it there with people. Let me know, in the comments what you think.
Wasn't he the one we had at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, he was the Brentford referee.
And we had him for Arsenal. He's given 2 penalties this season, both against Spurs. And over 2 games, 8 yellow cards dished out to Spurs players before heading into yesterday's game. You tell me if there's an anti-Spurs bias there. But Mia, a player I'm not going to say I'm going to eat humble pie on him yesterday because obviously, you know me, my expectations are I want to run a games, not just one game. The Celso, I actually thought he done well yesterday. I thought he had a pretty good game. What did you make of his cameo yesterday?
Yeah, I thought he did good. Joe, what I think with Celso, what his problem is sometimes he just looks a bit disinterested, but I think that's because he doesn't get the ball. I think he just wants the ball. And when he doesn't get the ball, he's a bit like, looks a bit disinterested because he's a bit like, hold up, just give me the darn ball. I thought he really did perform well. I think those first 30 minutes with him at Bentancur in midfield, I thought they absolutely bossed it. I thought they bossed it yesterday in that midfield. I was just in awe. They were so good together. And having Kulu as well. Kulu in the middle. He was brilliant in the middle. He played so well. The 3 of them in that middle bossed that midfield for that first half hour. Bentancur coming and going down. Him was a massive change. Once we made that change to go into Højbjerg, that was it. It was game done in the midfield. We weren't doing what we were doing at the beginning with that midfield. You know?
On Kulu, because I know Dermot probably wanted to get in and pressure on Højbjerg a little, I'd say. But just on Kulu before Dermot takes it off in his direction. I actually thought he was brilliant yesterday, whether it was in the middle or out on the wing. I thought he was our best player, relentless runner all game long. Do you see a long-term future for Kulu through the middle? Because he spoke about it before, but also after the game, he'd done an interview and it's banded all over social media there today where he says, I feel like the old Kulu. I feel like Kulu again. Is that where you think he needs to be playing in future? Forget the right wing, get someone else to do it. He has to try and make his spot through the middle.
Do you know what? I think it's going to be difficult because once we've got Maddison back, however, he can always be put in the middle. So when we want to take Maddison off to protect him, we could always put a Kulu in the middle. So I think that's where the problem. Like obviously, the fact is when we've got a fit Maddison, a fit Basuma, and a fit Bentancur to me, that would be my midfield. No doubt about it. That midfield is scarily great.
Yeah.
So would we put Kulu instead? No, that's the problem, isn't it? Because our midfield is pretty good. And then we've got Sarr, but we can change it. The way that I see it is that you need to have legs for Postecoglou, and at some point their legs run out. So when we take a Maddison off, we could and take a Bentancur off, we could put a Sarr who's got legs, and then we could put a Kulu in the middle. So yeah, he can do it, absolutely.
Now, me, I'm not going on Højbjerg. Me can talk about that all night, so I'm going to park that.
Well, to be fair, Tequila said me versus you part 1000.
Then, yeah, I know. We are having this. Look. Me and Mia love. I love our Højbjerg debates. Me and Mia. She's very strong in her opinion. I respect her massively.
What did I say, Dermot, to you? If Højbjerg was on that pitch, we wouldn't win the game.
Yeah, I know you said that to me this afternoon, but I want to talk about Emerson as a centre back. How I know. Don't worry. I'll get my own back in you yet. Don't worry. Time is a virtue, or patience, one or the other. Never. I will get one over you. With Emerson playing centre back yesterday, was that a very bold decision by Ange, or was that a message to the board? I don't trust my centre backs. This is why I've got to pay a back for fullbacks. And how well did you think Emerson did yesterday?
So I think that I don't think that Postecoglou is up for subliminal messages. I think he wants to play the best players possible, and he saw that I wasn't no good there, so he put Royale there, which is fine. Royale there I think he was good there. I think he did a few little things, maybe gave the ball away a couple of times, but overall, I thought he was good. I don't think there was a problem with him playing in that position, to be honest with you. So yeah, I was happy for him to play in that. When I saw it, I thought it was bold. We'll walk in to go round to meet Ellie. Big up to Ellie because she's out at the moment for her birthday for tomorrow. So big up to Ellie and happy birthday for tomorrow. I wish I had a birthday tomorrow anyway as well.
Yeah.
But we saw the lineup and we was like, that's bold. He's gone attacking because Royale's got a bit more legs, so we can do the pressing, which we did do much better with him there. So it was for me, that lineup was the right lineup. He didn't have anyone else. I think because of the way the injuries have gone, to me, that was the best one. That was the best lineup we could get out of it, and I think it was the most attacking one, in my opinion.
Yeah. I look, and on Højbjerg, you did say to him, Højbjerg went backwards, right, very quickly. Do you think he played better in the second half than he did in the first half? Dave said that, and I sort of agree with him.
Yeah, he did, but the whole team didn't play that good in the second half. So they just instead of Højbjerg going up to a level, they just dropped down to his level. So they all played not that great in that second half. They was okay in that second half, and Højbjerg was okay in that second half. That's how I personally viewed it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Look, I'm one of Højbjerg's biggest defenders. I think he does get an unfair narrative. However, Bentancur with me is right on this one. Look, Bentancur was that good. You know, when Højbjerg came in, you could see the instant drop off. And a part of it was because Højbjerg's first instincts were to go backwards. However, I do think something must be said to him at halftime because most of the passes he played in the second half were forward. I don't think he was much better in the second half. But Mia, what do you put the game down to yesterday? Missed chances or same old defensive problems coming back to haunt us yet again?
Can it not be both? I feel like we're quick to say because see Emerson's not part of the crew that really, I don't know, like I don't think he's awful. Like I think Emerson did a lot to try and improve himself, and big up to him for doing that. Listening to criticism and then trying to improve yourself takes a lot of strength because some fans can be not just like a bit critical, they could be really harsh. So for him to get rid out some of those messages, I don't reckon any of the messages were particularly nice. So he improved himself. So for me, last game, when we look at Davies was one of our better players in that Wolves game. And so I feel like the defence did okay. I don't think the defence were awful. But we had so many. Joe, what was really frustrating me, Dave? Sonny, too many touches. Why? Why were you taking so many touches? Getting caught offside. It was really frustrating me because I could see there was a chance that he had. He was in the box and he was like touch. Why? You had a chance to get your shot off. Like
that's where Son's deadliest, right? One touch, bang. That's where he's at his most deadliest. Also, I want to just add in on that. I want to ask you a sort of ask you a question back. Brennan Johnson and Kulu, it felt like every single time they wanted to feed somewhere. I thought there was one occasion Brennan Johnson should have shot and it was in. Rather, he tried to play it to Son, which just, I think either the keeper or the defender read. Are they too reliant on Son? What's going on?
I think maybe with Brennan Johnson could be a little bit of confidence, maybe, because don't forget, the boy has only just had an injury. Like, he's only played a few games since he's had an injury, right? So he wasn't the greatest yesterday, and I put that in my ratings when I did my ratings today. However, I will say he has only just come back from having an injury. So I do think that maybe a little bit of confidence with Brennan Johnson. Hopefully he'll go back into the game and be a bit more confident, because he was really wasteful. Same as Hill. I felt Hill was quite wasteful with some of the times that he had the ball, and he also was getting pushed off the ball a lot, and they were a very physical team, and you could just see he needs to eat some more food and get himself not bulkier but stronger. Eat some chicken, some good protein, and work out hard. Build up those muscles, man. And be a bit stronger.
Send them to Ellie's house. Send them to Ellie's house. Ellie will feed them up. She'll make them. We'll see 2 months at Ellie's house. Hill will be like a brick house, right out there, ready to go.
On a side track, Greek families, Greek mums, 100%. Listen, my mum did it to my kids yesterday. That was with my mum. I was like, the things that they ate yesterday, I was just shook my head. I was just like, okay.
Some good old souvlaki is what Brian Hill needs. You know?
Some macaroni. You need all of it, just like all the carbs, all the proteins, and like get it in you. Like I say, he does need to strengthen up a little bit.
Just on Gill and Johnson. Look, I'll start with Johnson. I mean, one thing I loved about him yesterday was a moment there he got the ball. And I was like, drive at him, and he done it. He used his pace. And look, for the large part, I thought, Brennan Johnson actually had a decent game. Again, it just comes down to that, sort of final decision making, a bit like Kulu, but I do think that will sort of click. Gill yesterday, I actually thought he had a decent game back for his first game back in so long in terms of on the ball, but I do get where people maybe get a little bit frustrated, because there were times where he sort of played the safe option sometimes inside a bit too much, where you're sort of willing to get on the outside. You put already in some decent crosses in there, get on the outside and make something happen. So I do get that. But look, with Gill, I reckon he might get a few more games. Let's wait and see whether that's just him coming back from injury and maybe a slight bit of confidence in the Brennan Johnson, or whether that's just going to be him. And if it is, I don't think he's going to end up doing enough, regardless of how good I thought he was in possession yesterday. So look, we'll wait and see on that. Mia, last question for you. Any hope next weekend? Man City away Sunday?
Joe, what? I was talking to my brother about this on the way home. We had like a moment where quite a bit of a moment where we didn't talk, because we were both a bit like meh. But do you know what? He was a bit more like, listen, we could, because you never, like today, if we would have got our chances, then it could be City that don't get their chances. I'm like, but this is City. They're not clinical. But he was like, well, you never. I'm like, no. I'm somebody who believes that I don't like us predicting us to lose, but honestly, I can't see anything but. Yeah. I really can't. It's really like, I want to believe, because the way that we played gave me life. It gave me hope. Because anybody who says that Ange Postecoglou is going to change his ways, he really ain't. He wants to play that high line. And Joe, what practice makes perfect. The only way to for the players to be able to do it is to keep doing it. You can't stop and start doing it. Otherwise, they're not going to learn. They have to keep doing it and keep on persisting with it. Yes, he makes little minor changes within a game. Absolutely, he does. But the actual way that we want to play, the philosophy that we want to play, is always going to be the same. And Ange won't back down on that, and he won't change that. So what we need to do is understand that for the time being, while we haven't got all the players that Ange wants to be able to play, so he's got the wrong tools to play that system. He's trying to still play that system, and I think yesterday proved that do you know what? We still did play it, and with Bentancur in the field, I thought that we had a good chance to win that game.
Yeah.
I think if Benny didn't get injured, I think we would have won that game. I really do, because we were in complete control with him. So even without our best 11, we can still play that way. And Ange will persist in that because he'll want that, so everybody can play it. So then we don't have to just play the first 11. We will have a mix-up of different players. He wants everyone to be able to play it. But at the moment, he hasn't got all the tools to do it. So we just have to have a bit of patience. If we would have lost 3 games, if we would have lost game 2, and then game 7, and then now a game, would people be as upset?
No, I don't think so, Mia. I don't think. Look, one last question from me. What was the mood like around the stadium after the game? What was the fans' reaction to it? Or were they sort of in Ange trust, or was there some grumbling? What was the majority of the?
I'll tell you what, the majority of us, where we were in the South Stand, stood and clapped the players when they come over. They clapped the players. So I think that everybody's, I would like to think that a lot of people were very patient and understanding, because they know that he hasn't always got all the tools that he actually needs. So I think that we have to have that bit of patience, if I'm honest. Like, we just have to have it. And I know people don't want to, I think people go,
it's for the goodness of the club.
Yeah, it's for the betterment of the club, because we don't want to get another manager sacked, right? Who wants that? Nobody surely wants that. We've got to give this manager an opportunity. We can't not give him an opportunity. I'm well on board with Ange. And even if I say maybe sometimes I feel like this maybe I didn't agree with, it's fine for me to say that. But overall, I'm completely on board with Ange. I want Ange to be given all the tools and the ability to be able to change things around, because I believe he can. If we watched that game yesterday, that gave me hope. If he can get players like Lo Celso playing, and you could see Royale playing in the back, and actually
Ragtag Rovers.
Yeah, we could still play, press it like we were pressing in that half hour and playing well. That just shows that we can do it. And once we've got our players back, I feel like we've got our starting 11 back, and then we've got more options off the bench, because he didn't have any options off the bench. What options did he have to get fresh legs on? He didn't have any options. So I think people just maybe like a little bit more, like, when you think about what the situation is. We lost a game with 9 men that we could have actually won. We lost against Wolves. We played pants, but we played better yesterday, and we just were absolutely rubbish at finishing our dinner. So there were 3 different scenarios of losing. It wasn't all because we were completely rubbish and we were, we deserved to lose, if that makes sense. I feel like that yesterday, I don't know if we really deserved to lose, if I'm honest, because I feel like we had enough opportunities. We just didn't finish our dinner.
Yeah, look, I definitely echo the sentiments, when it comes to Ange Postecoglou. We like you said, we can't keep going through constant turnover of managers, because eventually you will get beaten, and statistically it leads one way, which is only downwards and into relegation zone. So definitely agree with them sentiments. Look, nobody likes losing, right? Let's get it straight. We all feel it in different ways. We all hate losing, but for the betterment of this football club, I do think we have to sort of realize what we've got and demand that we get tough and say, look, we want a squad to compete now. Long enough. We want a squad now. We've got the right guy, and hopefully the majority of the Spurs fans are feeling that way. But Mia, tell people why they need to get over to that channel of yours and subscribe.
If you like someone who's a bit of a straight talker, shoot from the hip. Some people say that I'm a little bit scary, but I'm really not. I just say my opinions. I'm no nonsense with my opinions, but I also listen to other people's opinions. I'm very good at listening to people's opinions. I have all different people on my channel, so I'm happy to have that. And people come on. I have members call in as well. So if you're a member, you can always come in and have your say. And there's people on there that have difference of opinion to mine. So it's always really a good conversation. I do. At 8 o'clock tomorrow, I'll be doing a show with Ellie and Kate. So it'll be us ladies doing our show. So I do different kinds of content to keep you all occupied. And I try and, like I say, I'm quite a bit balanced person. At football games, I'm not so balanced. As Alex knows, I'm very sweary and shouty when it comes to football matches. I get very passionate when I watch my team. But I'm a balanced person overall, I think. I think so anyway.
No, look, I think, look, everyone should get over and smash that subscribe button. No doubt you've enjoyed that conversation here between the three of us. So that's the main reason why you should get over there and smash the subscribe button.
And not a Hoy beer in sight. That's all I'm going to say.
The percentage of the reason is that she supports the right team in Tottenham Hotspur, and that's all you need to know.
That's right.
So get over there
and you know what, as well, I'm also somebody, when it comes to rival fans, I'm pretty shameless because I will fight for I'll fight my corner when it comes to my team, regardless. I'm literally somebody I'll be like, put them up. I get nicknamed Scrappy Doo for a reason.
Yeah. It's a good one.
And believe me, I've debated Mia. She really is a scrappy dude, but I tip my hat off to you, Mia. Respect it. You and me haggle like cat and dog, but we are good friends. And please, everyone, go over to her channel. She is a sweetheart. She really is. She's like Princess Leia of our community. She really is that style.
I'm not sure about that one, but okay, I'll take it. That's not an insult, so I'll take that 100%. And make sure you smash the like button here as well for Dave, because they do such great content. They're lovely guys, Dave and Jack. Obviously, Jack, hope you're having a safe journey on his way back. So yeah, and of course Dermot, he's all right, I suppose.
Hope Jack gets back safe and sound. I don't know what I'll do, but Mia, you go and have a good evening and enjoy what's left of it. Thank you very much.
You're all right too, Mia, sort of.
I only say that because we're on screen, but off screen, I don't really like.
She abuses me massively off screen. She bullies me. It's unfair.
A little tiny me, as if.
Little you,
Joe is like Joe. That reminds me of Joey in Friends when he has his girlfriend and she punches him.
Oh, Friends, brilliant program, absolute brilliant program. But look, we better keep going. We've got Brad in the background next. Mia, thank you very much. I'll see you again very soon.
Right, take care.
Yeah,
see you, Mia. Bye-bye. Absolutely great calling from Mia there. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. A link for our channel is in the chat. Please get over and smash that subscribe button. Now, just 2 comments I want to bring up. First of all, big up Alex in the chat as well, by the way. What does he say? I haven't seen him in ages.
Dave,
he says,
I've just very quickly I've sent you a message. I've got to drop off for 20 minutes. I'll be back.
No worries.
All right, I'll be back. All right.
See you in the future.
Yeah.
But Mr. Box Office TV, good to see you, my man. He says, but Mia Gill being long enough to need to be stronger. He needs to be sold. Lascelles, so sorry, needs to leave. Look, with Gill, I think he's got until January, maybe Alex, to prove that, he can cut the mustard. Let's wait and see what happens with Lascelles. So again, not getting ahead of myself. Good performance yesterday. But, I want a string of performances, my man. Now, where's Steve D? Where is he? Steve D was saying, oh, Dave, you're on the Romero thing again. Look, all I'm saying is, there's a lot made about Romero. He's rash. He's this, he's that, right? But the guy went to clear the ball and ended up making contact with the guy rushing in front of him to try and block the ball. Collisions are going to happen in football. You put a ball in front of your fridge, go to kick it, and tell me you don't make contact with the fridge. However, Matty Cash yesterday, no contact with the ball, only contact with the leg of the player, only a yellow card. In my eyes, what Matty Cash done, where there was intent to do it, is a hell of a lot worse than what Romero done, considering he went to clear the ball first and cleared the ball away first. I get what you're saying, that there's other rules surrounding it. But again, like I've said many times before, I didn't think Lascelles was a red. I don't even think it was a penalty personally. I just think it's a natural collision. I think if that happens outside the box, nothing's given personally. But that's where I'm at with it, Steve D. We've been far too agreeable lately, so let me know in the comments, why you disagree. And then Toxic Headshot says, this fan base, I've been saying Lascelles is a good player for years. Toxic, my man. Look, he has to prove that. He's had 4 and a bit years here and has done fuck all at this football club. Done absolutely nothing. It's up to him to prove he's a good player. Now, yesterday, he was put out there and he played a good game. But let's not get too jumped up either way, Let's just see how it goes. He's going to have a run of games now because of injuries and stuff like that. Let's see how it goes. Without Bentancur there, let's see if he can step up and be that player that, for instance, you think he is. Let's see if he can be that main man in midfield that when other individuals aren't around, he can step up and drag this team over the line. That's what we bought him for. That's what these creative attacking midfield players do. So let's see if that happens. But big up, my man. Toxic headshot. I did say I'd respond to it, so there you are. And then where else are we? Who is it? Give me 1 second. Big up, Patrick Duffy in the chat, by the way. Good to see you in the building. Bobby G says, Dave, you are famous now for when you talk about the Deadwood. Straight talking. Look, I don't want to be famous for it whatsoever, actually. And I'm not famous, by the way, either. I just don't rate these players. I just want them gone out of this football club. And the more we sort of rotate them, the more I'm proven right on it, you know. Dyer not good enough. I always argued last season, stop him pulling out Romero. Romero's our best defender. You build the defense around him. Put Van de Ven beside him. Look at the massive difference. Hugo Lloris was unpopular at the time, but his performance was declining. Get in a new goalkeeper like you were supposed to when you signed a new contract. Bring in Vicario. Look at the difference. I argued a long time. Matt Doherty, Serge Aurier, players like that not good enough. Go and get me a player that can play. Bring in Parry. Look at the difference. I've argued with Ben Davies for so long at left back. Not good enough. Bring in a Doji. Look at the difference. Winks in midfield. He's gone. Bring in other players. Look at the difference. Same with Harold. He skipped last season. I said it. Look at the difference. I don't take any pride in it. The only reason why I say it is because I want to win games of football. I want Tottenham Hotspur to be the greatest club in world football. I want Tottenham Hotspur name on every trophy across world football that in competitions that Tottenham enter. I want Tottenham to be the number one team. That's why I say it, because that's my end goal. Tottenham to be the best team. I take no pride in it. And I'm not always right either. There are some players I might misjudge and stuff like that as well. But believe me, I take no pride in it whatsoever. I just want them gone because I want Tottenham to win bloody trophies. That's what I'm in football for. I'm a long-suffering Spurs fan. I want trophies. Like it was expression says, I want to see armpit hairs. I want them to be raised that much. I want to plait them armpit hairs into a nice ponytail. That's what I want. So hopefully it happens at some stage, my man, because I'm not too long off the grey years, and if it doesn't happen, not waste of time because it gives me a lot of joy. I'm not going to lie, it gives me a lot of joy. I won't go too far. I won't get too over dramatic. But look, enough of me. Let's get on to it. Let's get on the next guest. It is the one and only Brad Matthews. Let's hear what he has to say. Brad, good evening, sir. How are you? Sorry, I had to, Bobby sent me off there. What happens? I see red and I switch out.
Sorry, I'm fine, thanks. I'm fine. I'd just like to first of all say condolences to the Venables family and friends for the loss of one of our great managers for both Tottenham and England. Very sad news. He actually, the very first game that my dad took me to see Spurs, he is actually in the team. So,
wow.
A very, very sad day. But
am I correct? You would have seen him as a player and a manager at Tottenham?
He was a manager at Tottenham when
I was living in the 60s.
Yeah, when I was living in Australia, he was a manager at Tottenham, and I actually, when they fired him, when the muck up with Alan Sugar, I actually wrote a letter to Tottenham, having a go at them, saying, I protested this and this all sort of thing. Yeah, back in the days when he actually used to write letters and put sort of stamps on envelopes, that sort of thing. But very, very annoyed losing yesterday. Very, very frustrated. I wasn't able to go, so it's different when you're at the ground because you can shout and that and all sort of thing, and everyone's around you. But when you're watching it by yourself, I still shout. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it was very, very frustrating. But hey, look, I thought we played well. That's what happens, we have to keep going, really. And the talking social media, not many people, but the talking social media and moaning about Big Ange and is he doing this wrong? Is he doing this right? Whatever. You only have to look at two goals. The second goal against Chelsea and the second goal yesterday against Villa, marginally offside. If those goals go in, we're 2-0 up in both games, and maybe the results are different. So no one will be making these sort of these conversations, but that's the way it goes. Son has actually now scored 4 offside goals. He actually got a hat-trick yesterday of offside goals. And we're not talking miles offside. We're talking, inches in it. So it's just a fact of life, I guess. But, very frustrated yesterday. Very frustrated.
Do you know what? Offside is one I don't have too many complaints about, right? Because it's such an obvious sort of decision. So for once, I can't complain about something. Many people say that's a good thing, Brad. But look, what do you put yesterday's down to? Is it just a simple case of how many chances do we have? We didn't take, balls flying across the box, left, right, and centre, people sliding in, no one getting on the end of it. Or do you put it down to, same old problems? Set piece that we conceded from yet again, switching off before the final whistle, like we did at Wolves towards the end of the game. We've done it at half time. What do you put it down to, Brad?
I think we have to accept that with Romero and Van der Van out, we have to accept that our defence is not going to be as strong. So then we have to think, well, what are we good at? We're good at attacking. So we have to basically outscore the opposition. I know it's a really cliched thing to say, but it's true. And yesterday, we should have been 3-0 up at half time. We should have been 3 goals up.
Probably should have been 3 or 4 up after 15 minutes.
Kulusevski missed an open goal. He hit the post. It was Son had that goal offside, just slightly offside. We should have been 3 up at half time. The defensive problems are there. I do agree. The fact that we basically stopped when we scored the goal, and they had that goal, which you guys, people at the ground. I mean, you'd have seen it on TV. We're talking inches in that offside decision.
Yeah,
so we were very lucky there. And then the free kick. I have to say that was a really good free kick. I think a lot of defences would have struggled with that. But you have to say, that's what we seem to concede goals from. So, that does come into it. But I think we have to accept that we're going to be a little bit weak defensively, or weaker, and we got to score the goals. Even in the second half where we dropped off. What's his name? Johnson was through. He had that shot, didn't he? The keeper made a brilliant save. And then we had the shot from, I think it's Højbjerg. Again, the keeper, brilliant save. So you got those two things. The 2 offside goals in the second half. One hit the post. If that goes in, we probably get the goal. But no, it hits the post, comes out to Son, puts in the rebound, but he's offside. So it's just we did drop off in the second half, but I think that's because that first half an hour, I've never seen us press so hard this whole season as we did. It was just that was the other thing. Bentancur looked really, really good, and I have to say I totally agree with what you say about the Romero.
Do you? Interesting. Tell me what.
Yeah, because I, for the life of me, can't see how that ball's there to clear. You try and kick it, and then suddenly, as you kick that ball, you've got to defy physics and make your leg go in a different direction so you don't hit the oncoming player. And yet, what Cash did to Bentancur it wasn't like taking one for the team where they just pulled their shirt. It wasn't. No, he hacked him down. And if you'd have been at the ground, you wouldn't have known how bad it was. When you see that, he hacked him down. The ball's miles away. He hacked him down. And so I do agree with you where one's a red card and one isn't. It's like, hang on a minute. So either they're both yellow cards or they're both red cards.
Look, I'll be brutally honest, Brad. I actually don't think Matty Cash is a red card. I think in the game I grew up watching and stuff like that, I think it is a yellow card. But if you're going off what Romero got sent off for, where he cleared the ball first, and then people would say, I'd argue it's not a follow through. Other people would, right? That's where the red card comes into it. That's where the penalty decision comes into it. But Romero, intention was to win the ball. Matty Cash wasn't. So if we're going off the standard the referee and the Premier League have set, that's a red card with a 10-game suspension.
They said on Ref Watch today, they said that it was because it was a shin to shin. Basically, that's why they said it was a yellow card, not a red, and he didn't have his studs raised, that sort of thing. But it was a very poor tackle. It wasn't even a tackle. He wasn't. You couldn't even say he was late. He hacked him down, and it wasn't like, as I say, you see him when they pull their shirt and stop them from running, fine. But no, he hacked him down. And I've done that myself when I was about 12 playing football. There was a guy in the other team that I didn't like for whatever reason, and same thing happened. And I just hacked him down, and that's what Cash. That's what Cash did yesterday, Matt Cash.
Look, man, it's one of the first things I was told. If you're up against a player, the first thing you do is you clatter him. You let him know, hang on, you ain't gonna have an easy day. And a lot of the times, that player doesn't want that sort of game, and he shies away. You take him out of the game very, very easy. It's one of the oldest tactics in the book. And look, I don't mind it personally. This is what drives me mad. I just think if the Premier League are going to set a standard, well, they've set it now. So then Matty Cash, didn't touch the ball. It's a red card.
He knew what he said. You know the most annoying thing about yesterday? He goes over to him and says, "Oh, you're all right." You know, and even when he went off, even when Benton Core went off, he goes up to him, pats him. "Sorry, mate. I thought you." Well, I won't say what I said.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was just very. But the whole game, and then I think I agree with what everyone's been saying about Højbjerg. Højbjerg came on. I had a decent second half. He improved, but he seemed to he looked very slow to me yesterday for some reason. He suddenly stood out as being slow. After maybe it's just the way we were playing, the frantic way we were playing. He came on and he looked slow, but again, that was one of the things that happened. That you know, you do wonder whether the ground's been sort of built on an old Indian burial ground and we're cursed. But you know,
stop. It's all the Arsenal fans that brought in to build it, I'd say, Brad, to be honest with you. Brad, I want you to walk me through King Huddle's comment here in the second goal. Let's do this together. He says, Dave, who do you blame for Phil's second goal? Davies went towards Tielemans. He had no choice, and that left Watkins enough time and space to gather the pass and score before Emerson could stop him. I think the initial... you go first, Brad, and I'll come in after that.
It was a good goal. It was a good goal. The pass, the passes were good, and Watkins' control was good. But as I say, we haven't got the players like we had when Romero and Van der Vaart were playing. So, but I do wonder, when a team scores a good goal like that, you could have the best defenders in the world, but if you put the passes together, you're going to get through and score. But again, it should have been, by that time, it should have been about 4-1. We should have had the 3 goals in the first half, one in the second half. Because I think we started the second half reasonably well. I think we just sort of ran out of legs a bit, and that enabled Villa to actually sort of be able to string some passes together. Because in the first half, they didn't get any time on the ball. And the other thing I think that happened at half time was that they had 3 of their 4 midfielders on yellow cards at half time. We could have exploited that, and they took one of them off. They took Cash off.
Well, he's playing right wing in the first place, so I think his sole job was to take Bentancur out of the game. Personally.
Yeah.
Personally.
But I thought yesterday. I thought that the players that came in did well yesterday. I thought that Lo Celso did well. I thought that Brian Hill did well. What you were saying earlier about him stopping and going back, that annoyed me yesterday. I was sort of screaming at the TV, just take it past him, and because he's on his left foot, he's left-footed, he was beyond his left foot. But whether that comes down to a bit of confidence, maybe you haven't played that many games, you don't want to make mistakes. I thought Gill played well yesterday, and I can't remember where he was actually pushed off the ball because our criticism a bit, or not criticism, but we've always thought he might be too slight for Premiership football. But I don't remember him getting bullied off the ball.
I think there was once or twice when he was along the byline going to cross and people were leaning into him. Look, personally, I think it's harsh. I think when most players are sort of going to cross a ball and you're sort of semi off balance, I think, when someone leans into you, it's going to send you flying.
Yeah. Well, what I will say about Lo Celso and Brian, what I will say about Lo Celso and Brian Hill, I think we're probably going to have to accept that until January they're going to have to be playing. And what could happen, what I'm hoping will happen, is that they'll get a bit of form, because they're getting game time. They'll pick up a bit of form, and then when we get Maddison back, then we've got a bit of more of a squad that you can rely on. Don't forget the FA Cup starts in January. So I'm just hoping that by that time these players are settled in, playing good football, and we've got a bit of a squad together. We add to it in the January transfer window. Give the good old FA Cup a bit of a run, So I'm hoping that will happen. I think as far as where we're going to finish in the table, who knows? I think Europeans possible. I I predicted mid-table, so anything on mid-tables is better than what I did at the start of the season. Yeah. And it wasn't anything. That's nothing to do with Ange. That's to do with the fact that we need time for the players to settle into the way he wants to play. And as someone actually in the comments said, muscle memory, which I used to say about Conte. I used to say what they all need to get the system into their muscle memory, and what's the problem now is what has happened is they have, and now they've got to get it out of their muscle memory and the new one. So I think that does come into it. So I think we'll see some ups and downs.
What do you think of my observation on the man-made problem with the injuries, that we tend to play a lot of, or players tend to rely on certain individuals the whole time, regardless of the game,
Yeah,
because of the drop-off in quality, that a lot of these players play through injuries, which then eventually they end up breaking down, and it seems to be the last couple of years, because it happened under Conte. They all seem to break down at the same time.
yeah, but don't forget,
fixtures get heavy.
I see what you're saying, but let's look at 3 of our long-term injuries. Solomon, Perisic, they're not first-team players. And also now that Phillips is out for a month, he's not a first-team player. So I don't know whether that argument, I see what you're saying, and I do think that when you have to rely on the same players because you haven't got that depth, yeah, that is a point. But we're playing 1 game a week, more or less. We haven't got any cups to play in until, even when the FA Cup starts, the first 3 or 4 rounds are played on Saturdays and Sundays. So yeah, I know, I can see why you're saying it, but I think it's I think it's a mixture of. I mean, look,
I'll go to Richarlison, for instance. Came out, said he's been playing for so long through an injury, finally couldn't do it any longer. I had to go and get surgery.
Look, yeah, no, I do agree.
Surgery started the season playing, but he clearly wasn't fit enough. Maddison come out, he spoke about playing with an injury. Now he's out up until January.
Yeah, but and in that regard, yeah, what you're saying is probably correct. But I'm just saying I don't think it's the only reason, because
it's not the only reason. Yeah,
3 or 4 players that aren't first team players, but yeah, with Son, you're going to rely on Son and that sort of thing. You know, the problem with Son is when he plays for South Korea, he plays in their their friendlies against some country I've never heard of before, sort of thing. So because he's so well loved over there, but yeah, it's look, we've always had injury problems at Tottenham. There's always been critics about the medical staff going back years, so maybe they, I mean, I'm not qualified to say how we deal with our injuries and whether, and as far as the training's concerned, I think under Ange Postecoglou, he said, doesn't he? He says they work out how much running they do in the game, and that's what they train for.
Yeah, that's exactly what he does.
Yeah, and I can't see any issue with that whatsoever. And that to me says that's an even better way of getting the team to play in the system that he wants to play. So yeah, it's I just think we're a bit unlucky at the moment.
I want to ask you about the missed chances, Brad. Of course, so many missed chances yesterday. Do we need a striker this January? Because for me, it isn't just yesterday. We haven't scored a lot of goals all this season. Going into yesterday's game, we were 3 points behind Man City, more or less similar in terms of goals conceded, but goals scored, they were far superior.
Yeah, I think with the fact that Son's going away as well, I know that Johnson can play through the middle, but I think it's certainly something that should be looked at. I think centre back's probably more important to get a bit of because I think you probably saw in social media that he's basically told Eric Dyer, well, you're not in my plans. So I think Eric Dyer will be with us to the rest of the season because he thinks, I'm going on free at the end of the season, and get my money. So I think he'll probably stay. But yeah, I think they probably. Again, it's difficult. How do you find a decent forward that's not going to cost you millions that will be able to play the way that Ange Postecoglou wants to play? I don't know. It's going to be very difficult. But I do hope that the guy they got up there, all their scouts, are actually looking for that now. And they, on January the 1st, they'll be putting the bids in for these players. They'll know who they're looking for. The other thing I will say, Dave, is the fact that he doesn't really play with the way the Ange Postecoglou way. He's not really playing with a sort of traditional striker. It's the number 9.
I disagree with that. Yeah. For a Hashi bagged 30 goals from at Celtic. Goal scorer. Yeah. That's what a striker is. A striker's a goal scorer. Someone that scores goals.
I still think you need goals from your midfield as well, which Maddison's that sort of player, but obviously he's not playing at the moment. But
this is my point. In an ideal world, everyone was saying this was going to happen. But now we're in reality. It ain't happening. So therefore, it's highlighting the importance of a striker, and we have to stop this narrative. We end up selling Harry Kane because we fucked up. Now Harry Kane is gone. Everyone, was making out that, we'd be better off for it, this, that, and the other. We ain't better off for it. And the reality is, no one else is chipping in with the amount of goals that everyone was suggesting. I warned people this would happen. We act like players didn't score under Conte from all over the pitch. They did. Centre-back scored, wing-back scored, centre midfielder scored. But the problem is you also need that striker up front to be able to bang the goals. And for me, I'm doubled down on it. I think we need it this January, big time. And it shouldn't be a ragtag approach. Get this guy in, see if it works. Doesn't work, get the next guy in. Well, strikers are becoming a rarity in football nowadays. For me, go out and spend the money. We had the best in the world. Go out and get me the next best in the world. Go out and get me the best up and coming in the world.
I think that debate about Kane, and I can see the point where people are saying, oh, it's we rely on him too much, and then it spreads the responsibility, and we become a better team. But Harry Kane's the best striker in the world. Why would any team not want him in their team? So if you said to me at the start of the season, you can have Harry Kane or you can get rid of him for 100 minutes. No, I'm keeping Kane. And then he's like, well, no, he might not fit in Manchester. Well, I don't care. He's the best striker in the world. I want Kane. So I do get the point that the others have to take the responsibility, but they should take the responsibility anyway. They're professional footballers,
exactly.
So,
exactly.
We're
at the same point now again, right, where we're still reliant on one player. We're solely reliant on Son right now.
Yeah.
To change.
But maybe some of the players will as they play more games, like Johnson, they'll give him more goals. Maybe someone like Kulusevski, who, I'd love to see Brian Hill with the strength for Kulusevski. That would be one hell of a player.
That'd be amazing.
Kulusevski, what a...
You'd have Lionel Messi if you had that.
My word, the strength of that guy. And I think, what we were talking about earlier about playing him through the centre, because I still get annoyed when he always tries to get on his left foot, and I wish he'd use his right foot a bit more. And I'd like to have a few more shots, but through the centre, you might actually, you probably that would be a lot bit better for him to sort of have more shots. But I think we're unlucky with injuries at the moment. We've got players out, suspended. Once we get that full team back, which hopefully will be around about the new year, and then just I think Dermot was saying earlier about we're having our injury crisis now. Our little dip now, and hopefully we'll be fine for the rest of the season. When they all get back, we'll be okay for the rest of the season. And then the other clubs will have their injury crisis. So,
do you know what? I hear that. Under Conte, it never happened. Under Jose, it never happened. We couldn't reclaim it. There was that much damage done. We can never claw it back. Look, I hope this time, and I think it will be a little bit differently, because I don't think Postecoglou, you're already seeing it with going into the game. He tried to make changes to affect it. So I don't think that we will do as nearly as bad as the damage as we've done in years gone by. But I wouldn't be sitting here and saying it's a cert that it's not going to do that much damage, that it's going to be, that we're going to be able to claw it back, because in years gone by it has, and we've never been able to claw it back. So
I think results-wise, as I say, the Chelsea game and yesterday's game could have gone could have gone a different way if we got the second goal. All right, Man City, you'd have to favour Man City. I mean, that was always going to be a difficult game with our strongest 11. That's going to be a difficult game. But we can score if we put our chances away against them. Then maybe we can get something out of it. But then we've got West Ham at home, we've got Newcastle at home. We should be winning our home games. I said at the start of the season, this team should be winning their home games. We've got a few games, so we can still be there or thereabouts. When the players start coming back, and as I say, a cup run. I think I know a lot of people said, the FA Cup doesn't really bring you prestige. No, it'll kickstart something. I really think it will. It just gets you over that sort of that little bridge that you have to get over, by winning. But then again, you got to get a little bit of luck in that. You got to get the right sort of draw in when you go into the draw and that. But I mean, as I say, really annoyed with yesterday's result, but overall, I'd rather see us. Someone actually said on Twitter, I'd rather win with a really boring team than I don't like all this. At least they're trying sort of thing. Well, I'd rather be losing with a team that's trying than losing with a team that are bloody pants. So I'm sort of well pleased with how it's going at the moment. And I think if we're all honest with each other, where we are in the league at the moment, 4 points off the top after 13 games. None of us would have predicted that at the start of the season. I don't think.
Look, I didn't either. I didn't either. At the start of the season, I was doom and gloom going into it. But the stuff I predicted is only happening now. It didn't happen from the start, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. And look, hopefully it doesn't go on much longer, Brad. We pull ourselves out of it, and we can get back in Champions League, and then come the summer, really give Postecoglou the squad he needs. But until then, let's keep plugging away in the league. Let's see if the FA Cup can be kind to us. Hopefully, we have a lot of players back by then, and let's see what we can do.
It'd be fitting. It'd be fitting for. I'm not saying the year because it'd be a different year. It'd be fitting in the season of Terry Venable's death that we win the FA Cup. The last person to manage us in the FA Cup, or win an FA Cup. That'd be really.
Here, you set him off now. He's going to believe we'll win the FA Cup.
Oh, listen. It's. I'm lucky. I've seen Tottenham win 4 League Cups. I think, 4 League Cups. 3 FA Cups, 2 UEFA Cups. So I've seen them win stuff. So I've been lucky, as a Tottenham supporter. And that really takes you up to 1991. Since then, since the FA Cup in 1991, it's been that one League Cup in all those years. So, we won it in 99, didn't we, the League Cup? So I've been very lucky. But, we can do it.
I'd love to.
As you said earlier, I haven't got long to go, so I hope we win something soon. Well, put yourself in my position, mate.
Yeah, I know. But you know what, Brad? At least you had more years of success. I've been very, very. Majority of my sort of era has been the Levy era, so But look, Brad, really great talking to you, my man.
You too, mate.
Really appreciate it. Anything going on that Blue Sofa Songs?
There's a new song out. There's a new song out on Friday called "Peace and Love," which is quite a serious song about what's been going on, around the world at the moment. There's 40 odd songs on there, So if you want to go, Blue Sofa Songs, check it out. My views have been going down a bit recently, which is a bit annoying, very frustrating. But I'll still put stuff out there, and I'm now going to be working on the Christmas song. So. I did one last year, so I'll be doing one this year. Hopefully out in the next, uploaded in the next 3 weeks in time for Christmas. But if you can get over there, give me some support. It only takes 3 minutes to watch one of my videos. I'd love to watch all the content creators out there. I'd love to watch their videos, but they're all about an hour, 2 hours. My songs are like 3 minutes, so it doesn't take much time out of your day to watch one of my songs. But thanks for the support, Dave.
It definitely doesn't. Yeah. And you're a Spurs fan, so anything I believe a Spurs fan does, people should try and get behind and give them as much support as they can. We all need to be boosting each other up, considering the whole league are trying to tear us down. But Brad,
and there will be a Tottenham Cup. There will be a Tottenham Cup final song if we get to the Cup final. That's I promise that.
I look forward to it. You'd have to have El Tal Cockerell in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Wow, yeah. But thanks for the support. And if you can go over to my channel, and also, I always get this the wrong way around, support these guys. They do a lot of great stuff. And everyone that's on there that's got their own channel, just support each other. That's what we need to do, But it's been a blast.
But it's great to have you around, Brad. You've been around for quite some time. I do enjoy you coming on, listening to how your match days have gone, and of course your point of views. Mainly, you're a very very level-headed guy. For someone like me who I sort of everyone knows what my opinion is on something. It's nice to have someone that brings a bit of calm to me, Brad. So I appreciate that, man. It keeps me calm. Brad, you've been absolutely brilliant.
Cheers, David.
Soon, my man. Go up. I'm trying to have the best evening you can.
Thanks for everyone in the chat. Good night.
See you, Brad. Please, big up Brad Matthews. Absolute gent of a guy. What an absolute guy. And please get over, subscribe to his channel, and give his music a listen to. Like you said, Christmas song coming. Who doesn't like a Christmas song? I absolutely love it. So big up, Mr. Brad Matthews. Please get over and check it out. Now, I've just got some unfinished business here with King Hoddle. Give me 1 second there, Well, King Hoddle says, Dave, who do you blame for Villa's second goal? Davies went towards Tielemans. He had no choice, and that left Watkins enough time and space to gather the pass and score before Emerson could stop. Point. Why is my internet choosing to go now? And then he says, Dave, I've watched the goal again. It's Lo Celso's fault. He let Tielemans through without a challenge for me. It's on him and not Davies or Emerson. I never blamed Emerson for it whatsoever yesterday. And he says, this is why you have to analyse things properly instead of looking to confirm existing agendas. I still don't rate Davies, though. Now, this is the one that grinds my gears. Because I have an opinion on a certain player, people go, it's an agenda. It ain't an agenda, man. I critique on what they do on the football pitch. If they play crap, I'll sit here and say they play crap. That ain't an agenda. And if you want me to say why, another reason why it's not an agenda. What did I say to Mia when she was on here? I literally said, about Lo Celso. Had a good game yesterday. Let's wait and see what happens on this run of games. Even though I still don't think he's going to make it, and I have pre-opinions on him, he put in a decent performance yesterday. I'll give him a little bit of grace. I think I'm very, very fair. Now, where I think you're wrong when it comes to Davies' second goal, by the way, you should know by now, you should feel more than free to ask me questions, and I will get and try and answer as many as I can. People know that, without having to say, oh, Dave, it's an agenda or something like that. I don't know whether you're doing it to grab my attention, but it ain't an agenda. Where I think you're missing on Davies' goals is Davies should have followed Watkins out in the first place. What did he do on the first goal? Lost Pau Torres. What did he do on the second goal? Lost Ollie Watkins. Most of the centre halves, when that striker makes that little dart out to receive the ball to get to either turn and have a shot, turn and drive at them, or play a 1-2, you follow him and get up his ass so he can't play that 1-2. But Davies didn't do that. He lost them and then tried to recover from it and lost Watkins again. Didn't track the run in behind. So for me, he's to blame for that goal. Surely. He lost Watkins in the first place, and it's exactly what he done on the first goal just before half-time. And the reason why it ain't an agenda, I've seen Davies do this at Tottenham for 10 years. That's why it's not an agenda. If I'm seeing something in front of my eyes and it's happening, it's not an agenda. It's just reality. I'm one of these. I'm not going to turn a blind eye to it just because he's got a cockerel on his crest. I'm one of these. I want Tottenham to go places very, very quickly. If he ain't good enough, he's crap, get him out. I'm not going to sit here and defend them. This is the problem with these guys, some of these guys. People look for every opportunity to blame someone else but them. After Wolves, well, the forward played crap, the midfield played crap. After Villa, everyone going straight for the forward line. Even though this season, which we haven't learned our lesson, the start of the season went so well because we weren't conceding goals. We've now resorted back to statistically, the worst defence in Tottenham Hotspur's history, which Dyer and Davies were a massive part of. We're turning back to that. And guess what? We're shipping simple, easy goals. But what people do is, because they love them so much, let me see where someone done something, so I can pin the blame on someone else. And you know what? That's the exact reason why these guys are here for fucking 10 plus years. That exact sort of shit. Call a spade a spade. He lost them in the first place, just like he did for the first goal. It ain't an agenda. It's what I've seen in front of my own eyes. So to sit here and say I don't analyse it properly, I think is very, very incorrect of you, King Huddle. Being brutally honest, that's where I'm at with that. But look, that's my passionate sort of rant over with. Let's bring on Dermotron. He's back. Dermot, how are you, sir?
I'm all right. I was actually on there. Think, get me on, Dave. Get me on. I agree with everything you said there. Absolutely spot. These players.
I'm just sick of this agenda crap, though. How is it an agenda? It's what fucking. I don't know. I'm stop going. Sorry.
These players, right? I've been here for 10 plus years. Take no responsibility for their failures, for their piss ups. You look at Dyer, time and time again, letting us down. You look at Davis, letting him down. He has one good game, and everyone thinks he's a legend. These players have to go. These players cannot be at our football club and expect to start every game because they're not good enough. And everyone that thinks they are good enough need to really look at themselves. Who are the players who Dyer letting that header against Liverpool last season? How many times again and again did they let us down? How many times again and again did they switch off? Wolves, both of them switched off. They're not good enough. They don't take responsibility. And when you see Dyer, when he does make a mistake, he's like this. He's pointing to every other player, but blaming himself. Take responsibility, Eric Dyer. You made a mistake. Get over it. You're big enough. You paid enough money. Grow a pair of balls and actually take responsibility of it. I'm with you on this, Dave. I'm so pissed off with some of these players that need to be out.
It happens all the time when it's them, right? But when it's Romero, No one went back and said, "Oh, what happened before Romero was made forced to change that challenge in the box?" Right? And this is, you want to talk about agendas. No one does that with Romero. No, straight away he's rash. Doesn't look at anything else.
Yeah.
When it comes to Darren Davies, they're looking for everyone else, and that's the real agenda, right? That's the real agenda. People straight away, when it comes to the good players, no, his fault, blah blah, end of.
Yeah.
As soon as it comes to Darren Davies, well, could so and so have done a little better? Jesus Christ! I mean, come on, I'm fed up with it. Anyway, I'm freezing left, right, and centre. I'm logging out, logging back in, so I'll leave you for 1 second.
Yeah, fine. Look, you could go on and on about it. I can remember the 80s where players were men, when players took responsibility for their actions, when players stood up. If they made a mistake, a player would turn around and rollick him. You shouldn't bleep and beep, do this. And players today cannot take responsibility. They can't take telling off or rollicking. If a manager has a go with them, "Oh, I'm running to leave you. I'm getting you the sack because you're not picking me." It's so frustrating because we as a club are more than this. We're Tottenham Hotspur. We're one of the best clubs in the world, one of the best clubs in England, with the tradition of players taking responsibility, players standing up man for man, players being there, even if we're losing, still giving 110% to the players blow the final whistle. And the players today are weak. Some of these players today are weak-minded, are weak individuals that cannot stand up to a bit of scrutiny. For Christ's sake, I worked in construction most of my life. If I do something wrong, I get a bollocking for it. Even in my own personal life, I make a cock up, I get a bollocking. I have to own that. I have to stand up and take responsibility for that. These players do not take responsibility for the smallest of things. You make a mistake. Everyone's human. People make cock-ups. It's a human nature. But for Christ's sake, if you make a mistake, say, "Look, guys, I'm sorry. I would try better not to do it next time." We're not asking for perfect players. We're asking for players that would take responsibility, players that would take the mantle of what the shirt means to wear, what that cock-up means. Christ, it means more to us, the fans, than it does to some of them players. Just get them out of my club.
But look, as well, I don't want to make tonight all about them, but they're the only players that people go, "Well, they played good for 91 minutes, even though the game was 97 minutes. Yeah. They're the only players people say that about. When it comes to other players, the better players, no, he cost us, no, this, and it's binary. But when it comes to these players, all of a sudden, it's not just one binary issue. It has to be everyone else. It has to be a collective. Well, they've done it for 90 minutes. I'm sorry. The repetitive thing with them two numpties is they keep switching off before the game is done. It's a repetitive team, and I'm not having it anymore. I didn't want to go off on Davies that hard today. I really didn't. I wasn't planning on doing it, but I'm sorry. I'm sick of it when it comes to these two guys. I'm absolutely sick of it. We want better. We have to demand it.
We deserve better.
That's why they're staying here for 10 years plus.
Let's get it straight, Dave. We deserve better. You and me, right? This is no dig at us two. We're both, I'm nearly 50. You're in the middle of 30s, right? We're both a bit unfit, dodgy necks, dodgy legs, whatever, right? But you can tell if you and me were put in that centre of that defence, we would run ourselves into a heart attack, the pair of us. And for 98, 99, 100 minutes, we would have to be carried off that pitch because it means something to wear that shirt. That cockerel means something. That club means something. Bill Nick said, the people that means more to everyone in the club is the fans. You go out there and you play. And yesterday, on the death of Terry Venables, the last manager to win us an FA Cup, some of them players put in a bloody performance for him. It's a shame the rest of them couldn't follow him because I'm sick to death of these players.
Also, look, let's for instance take King Hoddle's narrative here. Tielemans peels off Gio, who just lets him go around him. Okay, that's one issue. But would Tielemans have got that ball back if Davies followed Watkins and got up his hole?
No.
Would he have been able to spin and get the return if Davies followed him and was up his hole like he's supposed to do? No, he wouldn't. So the crux of the issue is Ben Davies letting one of the hottest strikers in the Premier League this season just do what he wanted without challenging him.
You know, as a defender, you know, as a defender, Dave, we've both played the game. You know, as a defender, if you're marking your man, you keep tight of him. You keep them. You always keep them at arm's length, but you keep them within a distance that you can go to them tight. That's the thing. Davis didn't do that yesterday, and that's why Watkins is on a hot streak at the moment. You don't give him an inch. You gave him an inch, you took a mile, and that cost us. We didn't also take our chances, so you look at it that way as well. But we shouldn't have to rely on taking our chances, Dave. We should be able to see out 1-0 or 2-0 wins at Tottenham. We should be able to see these wins. We shouldn't have to keep relying on strikers bailing us out again and again and again and again. It's not good enough. And I didn't want to get onto this the same as you, but we're frustrated.
No, look, we were obviously going to end up talking about the second goal and stuff like that tonight. I get it. But what I didn't want to do is hammer down hard on them because, we're in a tricky period right now. And, there's a lot of issues that lead to this. But I'm just sick to death of when it comes to these guys, everyone's looking for it to be a collective blame. But when it comes to someone like Romero, no, it's him, and that's it. I'm absolutely fed up with it. But yet when I talk about Dyer Davies, it's an agenda. But when it's against Romero, it's not an agenda. But when it comes to these guys, I'd argue what's the real agenda here anyway. But look, I'm going to move on. I really shouldn't have got that annoyed. No. I'm just sick to death of it. It's every single time these guys play. I've just had enough of it. Anyway, let's move on. Let's get the man of the hour on, a guy that's going to put a smile on everyone's faces. Yeah. It's KPV. KPV, how you keeping, sir?
How you doing, Mr. Messi?
I'm good, man. Just a bit annoyed yesterday.
What annoyed you, my man?
Cash, should have been off, man. He ended Doherty's season last year in 21-22. I know it was 22-23, but it was April 2022, over a year ago. And now he does it to Bentancur. Seriously, quit doing that, man. Should have been off. And was it Kamara or Combs, or whatever his name was, should have been off as well, man. And no, shut up, King Rudo.
No, KPV, ignore that. That's me. No. That's me. Continue on with what you're saying.
Should have been off yesterday. Kamara or whatever his name is, and Matty Cash should have been off. Should have been down to 9 men, those two. And the ref, clearly a scum Villa fan, lucky bastard, that should have been off. And this is the disrespect Bentancur gets. Another injury. Hopefully it's not too long, because he just came back from an ACL injury. He was out for 8 months, came back in October, and gets injured again. I think Sarr will probably replace Bentancur, but who's going to start then with Sarr? Højbjerg, Basuma? Hopefully Bentancur won't be out for too long, because he's been probably great so far this season. Just came back from an injury and fully done well.
What do you make of that cameo yesterday? How good was he for that 30 minutes yesterday?
Fantastic, brilliant, and forced Villa. And Son 2 goals should have stood, because I saw them, and 2 of them should have been onside, not off. But I don't know how the ref gave them offside. It was given offside. Son scored 3 offside goals. Not great. He's doing a Richarlison scoring offside goals. He scored 2 in the Champions League, Richarlison, and Son scored in the Champions League last season, and now he's doing a Richarlison. Heung-min Son is, and not great, man. But Lascelles, I thought had a good game, stunning goal. The first goal in nearly 3 years. 2020 was against City, came off the bench. And
what do you think Lascelles have done well yesterday, KPV?
Forced the midfield as well, and great goal. And I think he has to stop.
Someone say it's deflected. It's not his goal, KPV. What would you say to that?
I disagree. It was his goal, because it says on the FPL app. Look on the FPL app, people. It says Lascelles, and people still need to forget that. I know he didn't score his first goal against Everton after the restart 3 years ago, and came off Michael Keane. Where he played Brighton away under Conte in 21-22, Kulu thought he scored, but it was Romero. So Romero scored his first goal, but Kulu's going to claim it. And so it was Lo Celso's second Premier League goal. So he's going to claim it. And it wasn't an OG because, it was Lo Celso's second Premier League goal. So, just get on with it, man. It was
back to Bentancur. I want to bring in Brian Wood's comments here. KPV he says the other teams are hammering our players and rarely have fouls called against them. Chelsea did and rattled us. We got yellows for fouls. Chelsea got none. Villa took out Bentancur. Look, there's two things in this. Look, personally, I agree with you, Brian Woods. I've been saying it for quite some time that I do think, we ain't getting a fair rub of the green in terms of the decisions. And I can understand why Spurs players are getting frustrated because stuff that's happening to them, it ain't being called. But then when they go and do it, they think, okay, this is the standard of the referee today. Then they go and do it, and then all of a sudden called, red card, book, this, that, and the other. I mean, I agree with that. But do you think it was intentional by Matty Cash to take out Bentancur yesterday? Because he hammered him a couple of times.
Yeah, it was. Should have been off, man. He's lucky to still be at Villa. He should have been off, man. The VR should have had a look. And Brian Hill, we should have had 2 penalties blood. Kulu was fouled, and Brian Hill got hit in the face by, was it Konza or Dean, whoever it is, and should have had 2 penalties. Don't know what the referee's doing. Clearly he's a Villa fan. Not good, man. But we move on. I thought we were the better team in the first half. And Watkins, and it says he has a good record at our new stadium. Lucky kid. But now you won't score at Villa Park. We have a meeting at Villa Park in the new year. So when we come to yours, Unai Emery's going to lose to the Gangs because Maddison will be back. I don't know if we've got them in January or February time. So Madders and Van de Ven will be back for the new year. And Romero is going to miss the City game. I think that's his last ban, I think. And then should be back for the West Ham game because I'm definitely going to the West Ham game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Nice.
Good.
Yeah, and we should be winning our home games, man, not losing. Big Ange never lost a home game in his career, and now he's lost 2. Don't want to lose 3 when we've got West Ham at home and Newcastle home, so back to back. So we don't want to be losing 4 home games because that wouldn't be good for Ange, losing 4 home games. Only lost 2, basically the same as last season. We lost 6. So don't want.
And that, by the way, KPV, that was a guy that was on a 50-odd game record, home unbeaten record before he sort of joined Tottenham. Now it's gone out the window.
Yeah, home games. We don't want to lose to West Ham and Newcastle at home because West Ham we took 4 points off when it was Emerson scored and then Son. So Ben Davis and Emerson combined for Emerson's goal last season at home. So at least Emerson scored. But Man City away, and we all know Kulu loves scoring against City. So and Emerson scored at City earlier this year. So Son, I know, does as well, but he hasn't done
Surely
it.
you don't think we're rocking up to the Eddie Hannon and beating City, KPV, do you?
Well, we do have their number, though, but they have a good record against City, but that's at home. Save that for the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But we did beat them at the Etihad a year ago. That was in 2022, after we lost to Southampton at home, and that was 19th February 2022. So we reacted after we lost 3 games, not in the Premier League. You count the 2 home games towards Southampton and Chelsea in the Carabao Cup. So we had to react, and we did. So Man City away is going to be tough, but yeah, the boys out. I know they've got Haaland, which I know he's probably going to score again. He scored against Liverpool, so lucky. But Pep, you're gonna
sorry, KVP. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But I just want to ask you, where are you about with the January window? Where do you think we need to improve, and what do you think Ange will be banging on the door at Levy's door? Give me this player. What do you think? If you were there with Ange, what would you be saying to Levy? What players do you want to see us bring in January?
Well, definitely get rid of some. I know we've got Dyer, Davis, they need to go. Laurie, go, I'm afraid. But you've been a great servant to the club, people. But those two defenders Dave mentioned is correct. Like, I don't like them two. Yeah, Davis won the Carling Cup with Swansea. Dyer, I know, came from Sporting Lisbon. Go back to Sporting Lisbon, Dyer, because you're Portuguese, you're not English. Go back to Sporting Lisbon, mate, or go to Bayern Munich. But go back to Portugal, kid, because you spoke Portuguese when we had Mourinho. That was in the All or Nothing documentary. So, but I'd go back.
You might end up joining Jose out of Roma, KPV, either. That's another option.
Well, no, Italy is not going to go to Italy because some of our players have played in Italy. That was Lamela, Ndombele, and so, like, but yeah, I'd probably go back to Portugal if I was Dyer. And Davis, I'd probably go back to Swansea, mate, because that's where we bought him from, and he just won the Carling Cup under Swansea. That was with Michael Laudrup, who, yeah, I think was Swansea boss at the time. We'd done a double over Swansea. Bale and Vertonghen combined for each other's goal then. Vertonghen to Bale, or was that Bale to Vertonghen and Vertonghen to Bale? So, like, Swansea, go back there, kiddo, because you just won a trophy. So, there, but here, not great. So, go back to Swansea, mate, because you're from Wales, but Cardiff is actually the capital of Wales. So, but nah, man,
KPV, I want to ask you another question, my man.
Go ahead.
You know, there's been a lot of sort of questions around Ange Postecoglou and what he's asking the players to do. Is Postecoglou's system realistic to play that way for 90 minutes, in your opinion?
No, I don't think so. Like,
why?
What way are we talking about? We're talking about
just the relentless nature of it, the way we want to constantly press, you know, get at teams to high intensity at the speed of which we play football, you know. Richard Key's done something about it, you know, saying that, you know, sort of ripped it apart today. And I've heard similar discussions over the last few weeks, you know, and stuff like that, and through Sky Sports and Talk Sports and all that sort of jazz. Is it sustainable? Do we have, you know, can we maintain that for a full 90 minutes every game?
I hope we can. Like, we've got, as I mentioned, the games we've got coming up are going to be, they're coming thick and fast. Big games coming up. City, dropping points for the last few games they dropped, but they won before the international break. And, like, I'm not saying we're going to go to City and win there again like we did a year ago, February 2022. That was last year, like, not this year, last year. So if we do that, then that's going to be, then that'll probably be what? A good record. That'll be 4 wins at the Etihad, 4 wins at Old Trafford. So 4 wins in Manchester away for different managers. So Big Ange has got, someone get the door, please.
Yeah, you tell them.
That is not your delivery, KPV. What you getting delivered up?
No, that's not delivery. It must be a night staff member. Like Big Ange.
I reckon it's his girlfriend come to see him. That's what I reckon it's his girlfriend.
Not my partner, man. She's somewhere. But Big Ange has got a big flesh at the empty hat, as we call it. Like with the empty hat, I call it. And
do you think he'll adapt the way he plays for that game? Because to be fair, most managers do. Most managers sort of adapt for City. Do you think Postecoglou will, or will he just go out with the same way?
He'll probably play that way, I think. Like, he won't change, as he said. Like, if we continue playing this football, we won't change the way we play. Like, exactly. Like, we're not going to change, which I agree with the boss. He ain't going to change. That's for sure. But the Etihad is a tough place to go, and I just don't like losing to them. We've already done a double of them when we had Nuno and Conte in space of the season. So Son got the home goal, and then it was 2 from Kane and 1 from Kulu. So yes, big man.
Yeah, KVP. Look, what the last question for me, sort of thing. Look, Kulu played in the middle yesterday, and we've got Maddison out now with an injury. Do you think Kulu could be that player to replace Maddison in that middle, and when Maddison gets injured. And do you think we now got a midfield of Lo Celso, Bentancur, Basuma, Sarr? We've got a two now that can cover us in midfield when Basuma and Sarr are on African duty.
Yeah, I think he can play there. Like, yeah, I think they can play in their centre mid. Kulu can. I think it's probably good. I think it should. Well, as you mentioned, the players are off on international duty at the African Cup of Nations. So I'll put Kulu there until they come back, and then when they come back, then we'll probably be forced in it, and we can beat anyone. Like City away, it's going to be tough, but I put Kulu centre mid, and maybe I put Star. I know he's not. I don't know if he'll be available, but Højbjerg and Basuma, and Kulu. And hopefully Bentancur's not out, but he probably will be for the big game. Like I know we won 3-2 there. It was a year ago when Bentancur actually started and Kulu scored the opening goal, and brilliant 1-0. Then we win 3-2. So if we can do that, then I'll be happy. Like I think we go second or third or something if we win on Super Sunday. That's at 4. So I want to beat City again, but Big Ange has a big test to come up. Like if Chelsea can take a point off the champions, why can't we?
Exactly.
I'm not confident, but I'm half confident, not fully, but half. But we'll see on Sunday.
Come on, KVP. We can do it.
How's KPV watching the game?
Win. Yeah.
How's KPV watching the game? Feet up, snacks, fizzy drink, ready to go.
Gonna be in a pub watching it, and
nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in there. There's probably gonna be full of City fans, but they're probably gonna scream louder. But come on, get behind the team. And Vicario masterclass. He's probably been the best goalkeeper in the league. I think he has the most ratio saves. I think if the stats don't lie, and for me, probably the best goalkeeper in the Premier League this season. So he's like Buffon said. You heard what he said. He'll be better than him and Donnarumma. So Italy's number one probably in the next 2 years. So if we can see the penalty, then he'll save one, because Lloris done it at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium before COVID. So he knows it. But so Vicario save one, then we'll be happy. But I want to win, but I'll take a draw, then I'll be happy. But a win, I'm giving up making my predictions as Gary Lineker did, but I want to say rest in peace to Terry Venables. Probably a great manager, but not greatest, because the Bill Nicholson is. But he's second, Terry Venables, won us the FA Cup in '91, and he gave a few players their debuts. I know Bennett Sim on here, so I'm going to mention it anyway. Get Campbell's debut at 18. So, rest easy, my friend. And I know some of you didn't watch the Euro 96, so England should have won it if it wasn't for Gaza Smith. So, should have won the Euro 96. But, semi-final and the last Euros. I
was looking at something about that. That's the home Euro she had, right?
Yeah, Euro 96.
The squad he had for that was absolutely unbelievable. I don't know how he didn't win that game, PV.
I tell you what, Dave. I tell you what, it was that much with Gaza missing it. I mean, I was a teenager around them time, and I remember that much Gaza missed. And Gaza had a great tournament, to be fair to him.
Yeah,
it's coming though. You can tell it, England. They're knocking on the door. It's bound to come.
It's coming for Ireland as well, you know.
In about another 100 years, Dharma, when we're 6 feet under.
Imagine him managing this current England team. He would have won the Euro 2 years ago in 2021, even though it was Euro 2020, but it was 2021. Imagine him managing the team against Italy in the final. We would have won it, and then would have had a party. But Gaza, great player under Terry Venables, and Gary Lineker paid his tribute, and Shearer does. He owes Terry Venables a lot, and Teddy Sheringham, so pays his respect.
KPV, you mentioned a party. Hopefully you'll be
Yeah.
having a party this Sunday. Tequila's saying, no doubt that he thinks you'll keep them City fans quiet. A few Stone Cold Stunners, few 5-star frog splashes if they get out of hand, my man.
TV. I'm still waiting for Ben. He's going to get one.
I love it.
He's going to get one. So you too, jabronis, wherever you are, make sure to watch this video because you're still going to receive one. I'll see you at the West Ham game. So Sunday, I want to win, but we'll see. But
who's letting the dogs out for you, my man?
It's going to be Sean. Who's next? Sean, you're on, mate.
So, Maddox. Big responsibility on his shoulders, KPV. Well, KPV, thank you very much for your time. But I also want to say thank you very much for showing up. You're, like Brad, like Mia, like Sean, when people start getting involved with them, they keep coming back, which I absolutely love. So KPV, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully we get the win. And hopefully I see reports of KPV dishing out 5-star frog splashes on Sunday. See you soon, my man.
See you soon, man.
See you later, KVP.
Big up, KPV.
Come on, you Spurs. I tell you one thing, Dave. That fella, right? You could be sad. You could be down in the dumps. He comes on within 5 minutes and you're happy. He is a legend. He really is. That fella should have his own YouTube channel. He really should. And he's a legend, KVP. Fair play to him.
100%. 100%. Just quickly, last thing. King Arnold, I don't know what's going on this evening, my man, between me and you, but I haven't deleted any comments whatsoever. And look, anyone that knows me, you can have your opinion, leave you in, leave you out, shake it all about. I really couldn't give two cahoots. There's arguments to both sides. And for me, I'm one of them. I listen to them. I will not delete anyone's comments just because they're not what I agree with. It's not what I'm about either. So, wrong. Again, wrong. I don't know what you're talking about. So let me know what you're talking about. But that's definitely not the case. Like I said, leave you in, leave you out, shake it all about. Could not care. But look, my camera is acting up, so I'm going to have to log out again and log back in quickly. I promise I will get it fixed. I know it's annoying for absolutely everyone out there. Believe me, it's bloody double annoying for me. But Dermot, let's bring on Shawnee Maddox. Get him on. No doubt you will. Let's get him on and hear what he has to say. I love this guy. He's been battling my corner about that second goal in the chat. I'm going to log out, log back in. I'll bring him in for you.
All right. Big up, Sean. Honestly, you're there defending Dave to the hilt. I'm going to defend you, Dave. Look, what did you make of yesterday? I mean, are you more frustrated, or how did you feel after the game? Just frustration, do you think?
I mean, I think there's some mild frustration. I mean, I think most of us are tired of seeing Dyer and Davies in this team. And again, I think Hoddle, actually, he had some reasonable points that Davies isn't the only one responsible in a lot of those goals. I mean, you're defending as a team, but Davies was making mistakes throughout that. Again, I think he's just not strong enough aerially. And without Van de Ven or Romero inside, we need someone who can kind of win those a little more reliable. Emerson has been playing really well at right center back for someone who's not a center back.
Yeah, he did. And that back four was full of fullbacks. Let's not forget that. There was not one centre back in them. And look, I'm not defending Davis. I think he should go too. You heard what I had to say earlier, Sean, that these players don't take responsibility. How did you feel we played up to before Bentancur came off? Because I thought Bentancur and Lo Celso, that we had that South American sexy football in the midfield, and it was like getting your juices going. Do you know what I mean? It was such beautiful to watch. How did you feel we were playing up to then?
I mean, if you're just kind of watching all the chances that we're creating, the amount of kind of pressure that we're maintaining, and kind of just that dominance in the midfield, that was probably one of the best midfield performances, at least up to Bentancur's injury, that we've had in really since Maddison's gone out of the team. Yeah. So it's been a while since we've kind of seen them fully firing. So it was kind of good to see. Again, Gio, I think, didn't fit any of the previous managers. But again, I think it was kind of obvious if you saw him playing for any other team that there was a player there. So we were kind of seeing him getting a chance to be a little bit more creative. And honestly, Kulu was very impressive in that cam role.
Yeah.
Because, again, I think when Maddison went out, it was really a question of, do we have anyone else who can kind of connect the offense and make some of those passes, but also kind of glide past people? And again, we saw kind of that ability. So I was impressed with that midfield, especially considering those are a lot of guys who haven't been playing much or together. So I think there was a lot of positives going forward. Even after Bentancur went out, we were still creating chances at times. Again,
weren't as frequent though, were they?
They were not as frequent.
Yeah.
And again, we weren't quite as clinical, which is, I think, a frustration, was just our inability to kind of hold the line on those runs and stay on side. So I think that was probably the bigger frustration.
Who do you look at in that scenario, though, Shawnee Mannix? Do you look at the people making the runs? Are they just too quick to get in behind? Because, look, myself, something I had to learn growing up is that, the longer you go on missing chances, the more eager you are and the more you end up jumping offside. Or is that the people playing the pass? Sometimes, the person running with the ball, being there again myself, sometimes you don't pick your head up quick enough. Who are you looking at in that situation?
I think in the last game, it was more the forwards. I think the midfield wasn't really holding that ball too long. They were moving it quicker, which we haven't always seen in some of our other games where the frustration has been. And I think sometimes we're looking as players had gotten offside and had not fully recovered as well. But again, it kind of, we're seeing a bunch of these fringe guys stepping up on offense, which was nice to see. And because again, we were never fully out of that game. It really at any point we were kind of always knocking at the door. I mean, if we've been a little bit luckier with one of those shots off the post, then that's potentially a point that we pick up. So,
yeah.
I think that there was a lot of negativity, and again, there's some frustration in the defense. But overall, I think there was a lot of positives we had.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Shawnee. It's one of them. I left the game where it was like, I was angry because Ben Davies yet again, which I'm not getting into, but I also left with a lot of positives. That Postecoglou didn't just resign himself to fate. He tried to make changes to affect the outcome, by making changes to the 11. And the likes of Gila Celso surprised me. Like I said, I'm not going to, start jacking off to the guy just yet. He's got a lot more games, and has to do it on a consistent basis to prove that, he's really turning a corner. But I did leave, and I think that's what mainly frustrated me yesterday, is that we should have won that game, Shawnee. We should have won it, man.
We were that close. The frustration's there. And again, we created a lot of chances, so we just need to be more clinical on those. But again, when we hit the post as many times as we did, I have a little more sympathy to the forward who strikes it and it hits off the post and doesn't go in, because we're not flashing them wide as much. And again, they haven't played with each other. I actually kind of liked seeing Brennan Johnson more on that right. It felt he looked a little more comfortable. But again, part of the problem is, I think that Johnson and Hill have faded a little bit later into that game, which is where, I feel like I'm getting some frustration with Ange's subs. Actually, because again, it just kind of looked like Kulu's legs were dead and like Hill's legs were dead, and it was kind of, well, we have a few guys on the bench. Let's use them, because again, sometimes in these late games, it felt more like what we needed was the fresh legs to start pressing again. More so.
Let me ask you, there was one substitution. Sorry, Durham, I'll let you in now in a sec. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's okay.
One substitution I was very frustrated with, and look, I love Ange. I'm not going against Ange before anyone goes on. I'm not doing that. Was the skip, or was the Ollie skip one? For me, I can understand that he wanted to put Skip in the middle and move Kulu out wide. However, personally, I would have brought on Jamie Donnelly. I thought if you're looking to get players back pressing, if you're looking for someone to maybe unlock the door or even, have a striker's instinct to try and get on something on the edge of the box, you bring on Donnelly. Why is it not happening? Because I'd argue, Shawnee, we're one of the only clubs that don't turn to youth players in times like that. You look at Man City, Miley, the last couple of games in centre midfield being absolutely brilliant. Three debutants off the bench against Bournemouth, still winning games. Man United have been known to do it throughout the years. Arsenal, Chelsea, led by their youngsters in, so I don't care about them. But my point is a lot of Premier League clubs blood younger players. Why are we such ageist at Tottenham? Why do we keep? So you come to a crossroads, you go, do we go and do what we always do and expect something different? Or do you go down a new route? We keep going down the old route. Why?
I don't know. I think part of it was the managers that we brought in the last few years are not managers that play youth players. And I think that was just part of just managers that didn't fit the philosophy. I've been losing. I was yelling at the TV and Ange being like, Ange, why aren't we bringing on Jamie Donnelly right here? We want a goal. Again, he's a more attacking player. And again, Skip just hasn't looked impressive this season, or
even yesterday's impressive was way
yeah,
or as much of a goal threat. So it didn't really seem to make sense. Again, Ange is the coach, and I'm gonna trust him, even if I'm a little frustrated that some of the youngsters aren't getting as many minutes.
Yeah. Sorry. Do you think Ange is right to stick to his principles, to stick to his guns? I'm playing it my way. Where other people are saying to him, like me and Dave talked about it earlier this evening, about changing his philosophy or changing tactics. Do you think he's right to stick to his guns? This is me. This is how I'm going to play. And I'm not going to be changing. You either like it or lump it. Do you think that's the right attitude to have?
I think it is. I don't think Spurs have had much of an identity on the field under the last few managers, and it's just been boring football. This is the type of football that we've been asking for to be able to play for years. So I don't want to be here being like, oh, well, we have a few injuries, so stop playing this exciting football. And also, there's been no game this season where we have not been competing. Even in Chelsea, when we were down to 9 men, we were creating chances. And it kind of until, again, I think the heads dropped after the third time that we had a goal ruled out. Were we still kind of in that game? So again, I don't think we've been losing games because of the system. It's honestly given us a chance to compete, and I think it makes the best use of the players that we have. So I don't see another system. And again, we don't have anyone who can defend. So why are we going to play a more defensive system?
This is one that blows my mind, Shawnee. After the Wolves game, and look, before anyone goes, I'm not pulling out anyone individual. These are talking points that Sky and TalkSport and everyone else were bringing up. Why are we playing a high line with Dyer and Davies? I mean, we played a low line with the rest of the team sitting in front of them, and they still couldn't do it. So, let's just stop this insanity. All of a sudden, they're going to, play well in a lower line now, all of a sudden. Madness. Anyway, Johnny, you said there, even though we're down to the bare bones, we're still creating chances. Do we need a striker this January then? Because we don't have people taking them chances. And despite, what the idea was, everyone else would chip in with all these goals, wingers, everything else. But the reality is where we're at right now, they ain't chipping in with anywhere near enough, hardly at all. Do we need a striker this January?
I don't think January is the right market just because I don't see a high enough caliber option to be worth spending the money. And I think that's kind of the catch-22. So I think what we want to do is we want to look, okay, where can we improve this squad? I would look at a center midfielder just because we have too many injuries, not enough depth. And then you're just looking at like a left back / center back. to cover that. I just think that any striker that's worth going after, no club is going to let him go. So if we can find a striker that makes sense, then I think it's worth going after. I just don't see anyone that's truly going to make an impact long term being available.
But with Richarlison saying that he wants to leave or that he's willing to leave January, and with Sonny heading to the Asian Games, surely it has to be prior on the list. And look, I actually take your point, right? It is hard to get the quality. And if you do go and get the quality, it's going to come at a premium price now that, you're going to have to pay over the odds. But we put ourselves into this position. So for me, go do it. If you have to go and pay over the odds this January, do needs must. We already seen what happened last year when we needed centre-backs in the January transfer window. They didn't do it. And the effect it went on to have for the rest of the season, we end up falling out of European places altogether. That's why I'm worried if we don't bring in a striker and the centre-back this January, and we, because, look, no doubt the board will be thinking the exact same as you, Shawnee. It's a valid point that, is the quality there and we don't want to be ripped off. However, I'm of the opinion, you made it, you go and fix it. Your mistakes is the reason why you're paying double.
Yeah, Dave, the only thing I would say there is, again, I don't think I'm not concerned about overpaying per se. I'm concerned about bringing in someone who's just not going to improve the team, such not be good enough. Because again, if we spend 60 mil, bring in another Richarlison who just cannot score goals, then it's kind of pointless. At that point, you might as well give those minutes to Felice and see what he can do. Because that's the thing, is we brought in Felice, and what I just need is we need someone who's going to be guaranteed a significant or a big improvement. Because if we're taking a gamble on another guy like Orban, who's not necessarily proven, there's nothing that's saying that he's going to be better than Felice.
We can't. You're spot on. We can't take that.
No. We need again, if it's like, okay, we can find like Belotti, Vlahovic, someone who's guaranteed to score goals at a price point that is reasonable to some degree, or that the club is willing to spend for, then I'm all for it. I just think that we won't find anyone of the right quality level. And at that point, again, if we're going to shell out 30 million for someone who's not going to improve the team, we should spend that money on a center.
Sorry, Dave. For what I'm hearing now, I don't know if this is true or not, and I'm going to cover myself here with it. I can't say a lot because I have signed up to an NDA, which I've never had to do before. Very rude for me. And I know Dave's going, I little debacle over the summer. I did end up being right, but it took me a while to prove I was right, but I was right in the end.
No.
Okay, I will.
Your source gave 10 different clubs. That does not make him right. I could have done that over the summer. I could have picked 10 of the best clubs in the world.
No, but to be fair, me and Mia broke the news the week before he left, and we got slaughtered for it. And what happened the following week? It happened.
Dermo. I was told, you told me, Man United, PSG, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Chelsea at one stage. That doesn't make anyone right. That's like blindfolding someone, telling them to pin something, on a map and then fly in there. It doesn't.
Anyway. I'm sticking to my guns, and I don't mind. I'm like you. I'm like Kanji. I'm sticking to my principles. Look, I'm hearing that we are going to go after a striker. That's our main priority this January, and we are going to get 2 centre-backs. The question I want to ask you, Shawnee, is do you feel with selling Kane in the summer that we should have had a backup there ready? If we couldn't get him in the summer, we can already get him in January. Do you think we've got something in the background with our new technical director, our new football director, Paratici, the Don, working in the background? Do you feel Tottenham can pull the rabbit out of the hat in January and say, right, guys, here's your striker, here's your centre back, Hanch, go and get us a trophy? Can you see that happening?
I mean, based on recent history, I don't see deals happening quickly. Although we did get a few early this summer. So again, I would hope that they did their homework. But again, I think when they sold Kane, I think they were going to say that we think Son can play striker and we think Richarlison can assist there. And I think that was maybe the wrong assessment. But again, if you've gotten to this point in the season, you know Richarlison is out. You've got at least a month to. I don't know what they're doing, but they should be out scouting and having some targets. And I think the new guys coming in probably had some targets they were scouting for wherever they were working prior. So they're going to have some ideas. And the question really is just, do they go after someone who's going to be good enough to really fill that quality gap and who's obtainable? Because that's the other problem is players at like top teams aren't going to sell in January. So it's being able, even if you're willing to pay, there are certain players that just the clubs won't sell at any that are priceless to those clubs. Again, it's what astounds me when they're talking about Lloyd Kelly, and I'm kind of like, if Bournemouth is willing to sell him and they're facing a relegation battle, what does that say about how they rate him unless Bournemouth is struggling financially, which they shouldn't if they're in the Prem this season.
Yeah.
So that's where I get concerned is when it is the players that clubs would let go of if there's not some other reason that like the players forcing the move or the
I'm going to put a player on the table. I'm going to put Evan Ferguson.
We can get him immediately. Sign on the
Joe
line.
Pedro, they've got Welbeck. They're stuck with strikers. We would be able to pull him out of Brighton if we pay the right money, Shawnee.
I mean, I think you just have to see if you can sell him on the project because I know Man United's been sniffing around some of the other clubs.
He decided to join Ireland over England. I think you'd sell him pretty quickly on the project to move to Tottenham.
I would be ecstatic. He's phenomenal. He gives a bit of height, which is something we don't have up top, kind of that physical presence. Again, I just don't see Brighton selling in January. He's been in and out of that squad. He's been picking me up points in Fantasy League. He's a great player. I just don't see Brighton having to sell. And that's the problem is that
you know what, Sean? I see it a little bit differently. I think Brighton know they're going to have to sell. I think they know they're going to have to cash in. And the thing is, Brighton will sell, right? Look at Chelsea. They went there. They managed to pull their players out. Now, the thing is, it comes at a premium, which we probably won't pay. But they are stuck with strikers. They have João Pedro, Danny Welbeck. They have a couple of other players there. For me, he is one that is attainable, is gettable if you're willing to pay the right money, and a guy you'll have for 8 to 10 years, in my opinion.
Dave,
I think it makes perfect sense.
I think it's a perfect signing. I just don't know if they let him go in January. It is more so. And because I don't think I've seen as many massive players leave Brighton in January. In the summer, Brighton is always willing to sell because they have 3 guys lined up for any saleable asset, which is really what Spurs should have. A bunch of guys lined up.
Look, for me, Evan Ferguson, I think is the right choice. Me and Dave have seen him for Ireland. Look, I think he's been a bit quiet recently, but no, I tell you why I'm going to criticize him a little bit here, Dave. I don't think he's been playing his best for Ireland because of the quality that's been around him. You put quality around this kid, he will kick on. He will be the next best thing. And if Ange is looking for young players, Ange would turn around and say to Paratici and the board, the football board that are there, get me that player because he's the next Harry Kane. He's the next player. He's the next number 10 at Tottenham Hotspur. And I would love him at Spurs.
I would love him as well. I think in the summer he'll be obtainable. I just don't see Brighton selling him in January as they're still using him a decent amount around that first squad.
I disagree with you, Shawnee, on that. I think
I
will.
think the thing everyone's missing is the main reason why he's being dipped in and out is injuries. It's not because of performance; it's because of injuries. He doesn't play when he's injured.
No, but the thing, I think if Tottenham come in with an offer that Brighton couldn't refuse, like Chelsea done, the player will move. The Brighton would say, well, look, we can't turn down, say 100 million. I know Tottenham will never pay that, but just say out of example, Tottenham said, right, we're going to give you 100 million for Ferguson. I wouldn't think Brighton would turn that down. And I think they would see that and think, well, look, we can build on that with younger players. But who would you like else to see come in? Which other players, Sean, would you like to see Tottenham go for in January? Centre backs or a midfielder? Where do you want us to go next?
I'm probably most concerned about midfield. I think with the AFCON coming up and Basuma and Sarr both potentially going out, Bentancur not really sure about the extent of his current injury. I think that's where we're going to be shortest, but I also think that's where we have players that we need to improve on anyways. We just haven't seen enough out of Skip at this level. Again, maybe we go put him on loan and give him a chance to kind of find some form and see if he can get to the level we need. But there's a few players there that I think are likely to leave or just aren't there. So I think that's where I would focus, partially because I think Phillips and Dorrington are good enough to step into those center back positions.
I do too.
Where I don't think we have as much. Again, I think Donnelly can step in, but I've always viewed him as a little bit more of a cam. So stepping into kind of that forward role where I think we need more of a box to box for the cover, but someone who can do kind of the offensive as well. Because that's part of the problem is Skip and Højbjerg just are not at the same level as Basuma and Bentancur going forward. So I think we need to find, but I don't know the right player. And again, I think that we could probably find a player in the 30 to 40 million range. I would trust the Don to have a few guys on his list of who can fill that role. So I think it's really just we need to be very targeted on who we go after. But I think the recruitment's been a lot better the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So I would trust that if they're willing to spend the money, that we can bring in the right cover.
I just hope there is money. I really hope there is money because, you know, with what David Ornstein said, I know some people would say, oh, that's a load of bollocks, this, that, and the other. No. But when you think back to what we've recruited in player sales over the last couple of years, it might actually be legitimate to it. You know, bar the Harry Kane sale, what have we recouped in player sales? Fuck all compared to what we've spent. And it's not the best model to be going down. So there's a massive debate whether there is money or not this January to be spent, but we'll wait and see. Just quickly, Erwin. Look, I'll be honest, Will Lancashire not good enough. Not good enough. He's not even good enough for the under. Well, he's a good player at under 21 level, but there's so much missing from his game. You look at Valise again. I think sort of all round play up until the box is okay. Finishing, a lot of work to do. The best player from the under 21s is Jamie Donnelly, who actually started out as a striker. He sort of only was brought into the cam role more so last season because of needs must through injuries. But this season, I'd say part of it is through it because he's not only does he score goals, he can create goals. But look, personally, but again, it's a big ask to ask a young lad to come in and bag the goals we need, like 20 goals, you know. It's not going to be Donnelly. Donnelly would be the right guy to blood in behind the striker, you know, a few minutes here and a few minutes there and let him build it up like that. Or if you do want to start him, you start him in a lower midfield role, in the cam role, or on the wings. But in terms of where we're at for a striker, this is why I don't want to gift Orban. I don't want someone like that, some journeyman that's only come on the radar because of a made-up competition in Europe and stuff like that. You know, like the Europa Conference League. I don't want any of that. We need a proven goal scorer. You know, we took for granted what we had. Many people thought scoring goals was easy. Everyone's going to chip in. It's not happening. It ain't happening. And I think we have to understand scoring goals is a hard thing to do. That's why there's a massive premium on centre forwards. That's why someone like Evan Ferguson is being quoted up to £100 million because of the rarity of an actual out-and-out goal scorer, but not only can score goals, but can hold up the ball, link up play, you know, an out-and-out striker can play that role up front on his own. So for me, we have to go into the market. We just have to go into the market on that one. But I want to ask you, Shawnee, Gil Messi, how do you think he got on yesterday?
I mean, again, I think he had a bit of a mixed game. Again, he was energetic. I think he was pressing fairly well. There were periods where he kind of disappeared a little bit on that wing. But again, we also did see him putting in crosses. He had one or two beautiful ones. I think the one that went just over Sonny's head. And then, again, he was kind of dribbling at people and connecting some of those quick passes. So he did just about everything that we wanted him, except, again, the decision-making wasn't fully there. But again, this is the first time he's played significant minutes.
True.
Coming back from that injury. So I think it's premature. And honestly, he's been as good as anyone else has on that left wing. Bar maybe Richarlison in one or two games where he was having outstanding performances, at least on the creative side.
So when you say it like that, I actually think you actually have a point, and it's not something I've heard anyone say. There's a lot around Gil saying, "I didn't do that yesterday, this, that, and the other." But I'd agree with you. What has anyone else done on the left? He's probably as good a game as them all, right?
Yeah.
Great point.
No, again, we saw a lot of promise, and he's just getting back into form. So I think it's too early to kind of make a definitive decision. But again, who would we start there next game? Again, Johnson is better on the right, and Kulu actually looks good in that cam role. That was the most balanced I've seen us offensively in the chance creation a little bit. So I think you leave him there. You give him at least another game or two.
Could you play Kulu up front?
I don't think he has the pace to get him behind in this system. I think he's better at cam because he has a little bit more space. I mean, he doesn't love playing on his weak foot, but he can play on both feet. I think he's better suited for that cam role, and that gives Johnson the chance to play in his best position. Where, again, I think it's more of you can play Kulu kind of on the right, or, I mean, you could throw him up top. But again, I think you just take other people out of their best position. So, again, it really is just a question of, at some point, do you give Velisis a run through the center and put Son on that left? But I don't think Velisis is quite there yet. Again, he still needs more minutes off the bench to kind of find his form, because again, there's good energy, but he doesn't seem like he knows exactly where to go when we're on offense.
I'd argue, what has he actually done coming off the bench, though? He barely touches the ball.
Yeah, no, and again, I don't know. He's had such short cameos and I feel like in a lot of those times he's come on, we haven't been looking very good at that point in the game.
Fair point.
So again, when we've stopped creating anything, it's hard to judge him for not getting on the end of much, because the games that he's come in are games that we've been struggling, because we haven't really dominated a game, especially toward the later portions, since the beginning of the season. So I'm hesitant to rule too hard, but again, when we did see him in the U21 games, the finishing wasn't quite there. So I think he's still kind of learning that system. But again, I think a few more cameos off the bench, and he's at least improving. So I think soon we'll see him. I was disappointed that we weren't whipping in those crosses to him at the end of the game. I was like, come on, put it on his head or in front of him and let him attack it. So I felt like the service wasn't there on the few chances
that
we had.
Last question for you before we wrap it up, Shawnee. Obviously, look, you're as fond of the academy as I am, which I absolutely love, by the way. I admire that about you, my man. Phillips, age-old question. A lot of debate around whether he's ready, whether he's not. You've watched a lot of the under-21 games this season. Take an educated stab. Ready to step in or too soon?
No, he's more than ready. Again, he's been the best player on the pitch in most of those U21 games, other than maybe Donovan. Again, he's got the size, the composure, and the only way to really see when those defenders are truly ready is to put them on the field. Again, I was yelling to put, I think that time we started Davies and Dyer, I was saying, no, start Phillips and Dorrington. They have the size, they've played together, and they can play in a high line. So I think he should have started a while ago, and I'm just hoping the injury isn't too long. Because again, if he wasn't injured, he guaranteed would have started that last game.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sean. I really do agree with you. Look, how are you confident about Sunday? I mean, I think we can get a result up there, but Dave knows I'm deluded anyway, so I'm in a different planet completely to you lot. But the sensible Spurs fans, I'm just away with the clouds. Dave's ringing up the loony people for me after this stream. But where are we going? Can we get a result there? Come on, give us some confidence.
My concern is who we start at center back. But what I will say is the games that City has struggled at have been when teams took possession of the ball and attacked them. And that is what Ange wants to do. And again, there's a little bit of a hoodoo, which I think will be at least mentally kind of eating at the City players a little bit. So again, I think if we go there, we play on the front foot, we have every chance of a result if we can finish our chances. And again, that's the last few games where the finishing has been a bit poor, even when we've created chances. Like that Chelsea game, we created chances when in a game we shouldn't have been competing in at that point in the second half. And again, it's come down to a failure to finish those chances. So hopefully, like you suggested or I think Jack suggested during a watch along, they better have been out there at 6 a.m. working on shooting practice. But no, again, I think if we can finish our chances, then there's no reason we can't get something out of that City game.
Haaland, maybe he's the reason on the back line. Look, I agree with you, though. Look, you take your chances. It's just like us to be able to come to fruition against Man City, right? It's not usually if we didn't have the history of beating Pep Guardiola the way we do, you'd say that's a complete write-off. However, I still think going into this game, the door is left ajar, right, Shawnee?
We've come out of worse form and beaten City away. So I think that our style of football matches up really well against what City wants to do. Again, we're not going to keep a clean sheet. We're not going to keep City entirely silent with our current backline injury problems. But there's no reason that our players cannot create chances and give them a game.
Yeah, that's so true.
Look, I agree. Who knows? We might get another Kulu sexy, inspiration goal or something like that. But Shawnee, absolutely great calling, my man. I really do enjoy talking to you about all aspects of our club. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, sir.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. I'll hopefully be able to join you guys for the next fan show and the build-up.
Yeah, Sean, nice. It's the first time I've actually had a proper chat with you. Really enjoyed that. Absolutely. You're so smart about your football and you know about your youth. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. So thanks a lot, Sean. I've really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Take care.
Shawnee, you take care, my man. You go off and have a good evening. You've got more of the day left than what we do here. So go and enjoy yourself, and we'll speak to you again very, very soon, my man. Give me a big come on, you Spurs, as you leave.
Come on, you Spurs.
That's it, man.
Love that. Love that. Shawny, see you soon again, bro. Come on. Great calling. Great calling. Great time for Sean. He's a real deep thinker, you know. I absolutely love that. And, you know, he's very well versed in all aspects of the club.
He is. Fair play to him.
We've got no more guest Dermo.
Is that it? Is that it?
That's
I'm
it.
disappointed. I'm disappointed now. I'm gonna come off
I know,
here now.
apparently it could be because we had a fan show Friday as well. They're very close together. So
yeah, I'm a bit disappointed, Dave.
Like
I
maybe
am
they're afraid of me.
off.
Maybe they're waiting for Jack to come back. They feel more safe with Jack.
No, do you know what it is, right? Jack's not here, right? And I'm substituting, and I've looked at it, right? Yeah, good looking fella there from Kildare. That fella from Wexford, I don't know, he's not a Jack lookalike. So now we'll wait till Jack's back. But look, I've had a great time tonight. Sorry for popping off for a little while, Dave, but while I've been here, I've really enjoyed myself. Absolutely had a blast. I love doing these with you or Jack. I really enjoyed them. They're great crack to do.
For sure. For sure. No, look, first of all, I really appreciate you giving up, you know, two and nearly 3 hours of your time this evening, Dermo. You really didn't have to do that. You know, really, really kind of you, my man. So thank you very much for hosting that with me. But before we go, I do want to know what's coming up on your channel. Why do people need to get over there, Tron? You forgot to plug it yourself, brother.
Yeah, look, if you like what I've had to say tonight, and you can find me and Philip over in THFC Till I Die, where we do everything from Tottenham past, present, and the exciting future. We've got the post-match coming up this week. We've got the roundtable discussion on Thursday. Me, Mia, Colin, and Ash from South East Coys is coming on. We're going to get Dave and Jack on there next week.
Lad.
Yeah, with Shawnee as well. We got I'm doing the solo watch along on Sunday with Manchester City, and then December we're going to do a bit of the boxing, and then there'll be Formula One content as well with a review of the season on our F1 channel, and we've got loads of stuff coming up. So excited what's going to come up next year. We've a lot of stuff working in the background, but if you want to hear more of me and you like what I have to say, give a subscription to us, hit the like button, but do it here first. Hit the mothership of THFC Till I Die, the mothership that launched many YouTubers. Give these guys a big up and just make their Christmas. Get them up to big round figures. Where are you now, Dave?
Nearly at 12,900, I think.
Right. Well,
not sure,
I tell you what, for Christmas, get Dave and Jack to 13K. Get me
15.
and Philip up to 2K or 15K. Okay. Get me and Philip up to 2K and get Mia up to 2K as well. Let's get the three of us all up to nice round numbers before Christmas. So Dave can wake up Christmas Day morning, have a look on YouTube, go, I'm at 15K. And he can celebrate his Christmas without worrying about anything, but do it here first. Thank you for having me on. I'm rambling. I'm waffling. Goodbye.
I appreciate it. I'll celebrate it for about 15 minutes, and then the realization, we realized that, you know, I'm about 85K off the plaque. So, you know, then you know, it'll only keep me happy for a minute, John. But people, please do get over and check out Dermot's channel. Been an absolute great addition to the pre-match build-ups. You know, me, him, and Paul, we absolutely have great fun there. An absolute riot, or what would the posh people in Ireland say? An absolute scream. You know, an absolute scream.
Yeah, but we're not posh people of Ireland, Dave. We're not the posh people of Ireland. We're the real people of Ireland. We're the proper. I mean,
absolute scream.
A scream. Yeah, I know you live in Kildare and I live in Wexford, right? We will be walking up to your borders now in Kildare. You and me be standing over each other, shouting insults at one another. Yeah. But I tell you, this man next to me is a perfect gentleman. One of my closest friends on YouTube. He's like a brother to me. So please hit a like up for both of them here. Jack as well. They're both like brothers to me. Hit the like button, subscription button on this channel. These guys put a lot of work into it, a lot of content, and a lot of good content as well. The best on YouTube. So please.
I'm going to say it, Dermo. You shouldn't have done such a good job, because now when me and Jack can't make it, you'll be the first one drafted in for these long evenings. But look, Tyler,
happy.
Tyler, my man. You want to come on. You know, my shepherd's parking late a little bit longer. Don't worry about that. If you want to come on, just let me know. I'll link you up now and you can come on, brother. And honestly, you know, this is what we're here for. This is what Monday nights are about, you know. I was only ending off because there's no one else left there to speak to. But if you want to come on, brother, feel free. You know, no problem whatsoever. But when I'm finished, I will be going for. So basically, Tyler was saying, I should have, said I should have something for dinner. I was basically saying, oh, don't worry, I've got shepherd's pie in the oven.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to take round 2 on that now shortly, Round 2, Dermot. Not round 1, round 2, lad.
Round 2.
Tyler, just put it in the comments. If you do want to come on, no problem, my man.
Yeah, and look, I tell you, I was hoping to get Dave into the boxing on the 23rd. That's some card, by the way. That if anyone's seen that card, I've tried. I worked in Luton. Luton's nothing special. Apologies to anyone in Luton watching, but I think Luton's very small.
For sure.
Maybe for Christmas. Yeah, all I want for Christmas is Ange. That's what we want, isn't it, Dave?
Do you know? Look, I just want to be top of the Premier League, though. Well, that's all I want for Christmas.
Yeah.
But Tequila, my man, look, I say this to people. I understand it's tough times out there for everybody and stuff like that. 100%, I get it. You ever want to come on? Just let me know, my man. I'll link you up, no problem. Ideally, if everyone could grab them fan show memberships, it'd be brilliant and stuff like that. But I do help people out, So just let me know, brother, and I'll get you on. I think it was you I seen on Mia's there the other day. I think I could be right, my man. But big yourself up. Just let me know anytime, no problem at all, brother. Same as you, King Hoggy. When are you gonna come on? When are you gonna come on and have debates with me and chats with me? I feel like you could have talks for days. And then Kev Williams,
pay to view there. There's a pay to view there. Dave against King Hoddle. I got the popcorn. I can sell it. It would be like I'd be the Don King of the promotions here. I call Dave the Lion Man Harris from Ireland, King Hoddle from England. The Rumble in Kildare. There's the name. There's the name of the fight already. So go on, King Hoddle. Go on. Get that membership. Come on. I want to see the Rumble in Kildare, please. I want to see that.
Shawnee says, Dave, you're expecting too much. We don't need to be top. I'd settle for the FA Cup. Look, both Shawnee Maddox. I'm a greedy boy. I want both. Greedy's my nature. That's why I'm going for round 2 on my shepherd's pie, brother. And then Kev Williams says, absolute legends, Dave, Jack, and Dermatron. He's gone Dermatron Ron. Oh, that's only one Ron.
I don't start changing it again.
Ron or Tron? What do you want to call him? I'm now going with Ron. Big up, Kev Williams. Great nickname for the time. Come on, you Spurs flat cap Parry. Kev, it's great to see you back, my man. Great to see that life is doing very well, my man. Let me know if you're all excited for Christmas and that, brother. But good to see you back around. But Ron. You've kicked off a new nickname for Dermot, and it's Ron. Kev, really appreciate the support. Honestly, I keep saying to people, that people really don't understand how even the littlest of things really helps out. Every YouTube channel out there, like smashing that like button, just sharing it out to people, subscribing, in terms of supporting the channel, viewing in. And for that, I can only ever personally be really, really grateful to all of you guys for that, because, it's your harder, it's your free time you're giving up to tune in to watch us. It's your hard-earned money you're using to help support us on a journey and stuff like that. So I want to say a massive thank you to everybody out there for that. Every single one of you, everyone. So massive thank you. And look, that's it from the big dog. I'm off to demolish some shepherd's pie. Gonna lay some brown sauce over it, bit of pepper, wee bit of salt, ready to go. You go and enjoy your evening. Tron, Ron. Thank you very much for this evening. We'll see you all back here tomorrow with more content.
I'm gonna get you for that. I'm gonna get you for that.
In the mighty Ange Postecoglou, we trust. We
all above. Stop. All above the ants train. Woo choo.
Ron.
Do run.
Do run.
Do run. We're gonna get a sing.
Everywhere we go.